15 whole seconds behind. Shit. Shit. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Hi there, folks. My name is Ben, and welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping this is working. I'm just gonna bear with me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna see if the stream actually kicks in. Looks like the intro card's made it. There's a couple of seconds behind. I'm so sorry about this. This is really silly. Is it working? Oh no, I think something's wrong. Okay, can somebody tell me, can you hear me or not? Have I screwed this up entirely? I've got the comments open. This is not the best way to start a stream at all. I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, hang on. Let's just see. Is it working? Hey, it looks like it's working. Okay, cool. I'm hearing some feedback over there. Anyway, right, let's try that again. Hi there, folks. My name is Ben, and welcome back to the channel. This is absolutely bananas. I'm live. This is my first ever live stream. This is a really terrible idea. But hey ho, we give it a go. And thank you very much for the comments, by the way. I'm keeping an eye on them. So, right, let's get straight into this thing. First of all, let's just point out the fact that if you've seen my videos, you know that I use a lapel mic. Oh, okay, hang on. So people are replying now. So there's like a 15-second delay, and that's on my bad, because when I set up my stream, I have the option to select latency. And in my tests, I put it at ultra low latency, so it's like 2 seconds. But here I put it at normal because I'm an idiot. So there's going to be a big delay. I apologize about that, but I promise I will keep an eye on the chat. So please notice desk mic that does all this sort of crazy crap. Obviously, I'm using my camera. I got this big old light. I'm very excited to be here with you. As you can probably tell, I'm a bit all over the place. But hey, we give it a go. So welcome. If this is your first time seeing one of my videos, then my name is Ben. I am so glad that you are here. I do tech tutorials and twaddle. Basically, I do techie, codey tutorials, try and teach people things about computers and programming, and then I do rants about weird other little things, and yeah, that's sort of my channel. If you haven't seen one of my videos, well, obviously I'm very biased. I'd recommend checking them out, but I try and do like stupid things that make me happy as well, like silly introductions and stuff like that. So yeah, go check that out. Regardless, the first thing I want to say is this is my first ever live stream. Things are going to go wrong. As you can already tell, things are going immediately wrong. It's just my luck. But bear with me is what I'm trying to say. I'm testing this out to see if this is a platform that works for me and my channel. And I'm also sort of learning how to do it as I go. Just very quickly, massive shout out to a friend of mine, VV Plays, who also has a YouTube channel. I'll post to his channel, and he does Twitch streaming and stuff. I'll post to his channel in the comments somewhere at some point, but he has helped me set this all up, and so big thank you to him. But yeah, bear with me. So, if you are watching after the live stream has finished, then hello, and of course this video will be probably a long video. I'm just going to live stream. I'm probably going to cap it at about 2 hours max. Probably people will drop off. Feel free to pop in, pop out. But after this live stream is done, I will go back and edit it so that we have, you know, the YouTube timestamps, because I do not want to waste anyone's time. That's the worst thing that could happen. So if you're watching this after the fact, use the timestamps below to jump ahead to the relevant sections. However, if you're watching it live, hello, I'm seeing some people. Oh, Joseph Crane, hello. Nala, Louis, I think it's Louis. Ian Roberts, my boy. Yeah, hello to you all. You have a distinct advantage over the people watching it not live. You have me in the flesh. I'm sorry about that, by the way, as well. That's both a curse and a beauty. But the point that I'm trying to make is that I want you to ask me questions. Like, I really want you to ask me questions. Otherwise, this whole thing could have just been a static video. Could have been edited, could have been cropped down to a sensible, reasonable time. But it's live. So ask me questions about work, the code that I'm going to do in front of you, why I'm doing things a certain way. Correct me if I screw up, which is very likely. But use the comments, please. I have it open on one here, one window over here, and my coding window over here, which you'll see in a second. And I'm just getting a comment. Ben, you suck. How's it going, mate? James Williams, my old boss. Hello, buddy. I miss you very much, and things are going great. I'm just doing a little live stream now, and I even have this stupid thing, which is brilliant. A good friend of mine bought me that, and I'm finally using it because I'm on air. Oh, Graham was here as well. Graham Bryan in the chat, by the way, did teach me everything I know. So if you have questions that I can't answer, Graham will be here. He promised he'll be here for the entire duration and some afterwards. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't go, Graham. Anyway, my flow is completely disturbed now. What I was trying to say is ask me questions. I've got the chat open. I'm going to keep an eye on it. We'll see how things go. Now, the reason that I'm making this video, obviously I'm making an app. We'll talk about the app in a second. Myself and another YouTuber that goes by the name of Art of Software, Mikey, he has another channel. Me and him have done collaboration videos in the past. We're planning another one. And we're basically going to take two different apps, his React Native app and my native app, and compare them and contrast them. And thus, I thought I would milk the opportunity to make said app in front of you now, and that is what I'm doing. I'm not going to do like TDD or like any sort of, that's test-driven development, by the way. Need to make sure I do all the acronyms. I'm just going to keep it sort of very freestyle. I am going to try and do like a really sort of cleanish architecture. We'll talk about that again in a second. And this live stream will not be neat. There will be mistakes. And if you've seen any of my videos, I love to edit out the mistakes and put them in the blooper reel. In case anybody never gets to the end of my videos, the blooper reel is where I put all my ridiculousness at the end of a video. But you will see a real developer doing real development. It will be a mess and it'll be exciting. I've done a little preparation, so I'm going to refer to my two screens. We're just going to go for it, and we're just going to see what's going to happen. So, as I said, I'm going to cap this video. If I haven't finished making the app by then guess what? I'm going to milk another live stream out of it at some point. So, we'll see. But bear with me if you can, and if you can stick with me to the end, then I'll get you a medal, I guess. I don't know. I shouldn't make promises like that. Yeah, so very quick note. When I tested this, my video player, when I was watching my test live stream, defaulted me to be a lower quality. So I was all blocky and blurry. If that's the case for you, then please select in your config, like your YouTube client config, to go up to 1080p. I should be in front of you in 1080p at least. Right then, before we dive into this, let's get some chat going. I don't know if this will work. If it doesn't, then it's fine. I'm going to sit here awkwardly, just like staring at the chat. Tell me something. Where are you from? Where is this audience of currently? Let me see. Currently, nine people. I'm well proud about that, by the way. That's dope. I would be happy if it's like 5. This is awesome. Where are you from? Whereabouts are you watching me from? What is your experience with Android development? What is your experience with programming? Get involved. Get in the chat. I'm going to pester you. I'm going to answer your questions. Let me hear where you're from. And hello. Also, whilst you're doing that, I want to show you something. This is really dumb, but this is what makes it me, right? 'Cause it will be a mess. It will be a mess. I have brought along with me one of my very favorite joke books. This is literally just a book full of terrible, terrible jokes. And at any point, I might pull it out and tell you a terrible joke. So just prepare yourself for that. That's how I keep you hooked. See? Got it. All right, so some answers are coming in now. Again, this is super delayed. So you probably typed this ages ago, but this is super delayed. Some people from Portugal, Iran, Essex, India. Awesome. Hello to you all. Hello. Please, if you have any questions about Android development, I am. it's kind of funny to say. Definitely a little bit of imposter syndrome, but I am a senior Android developer at a company here in Berlin called Babel. I'm not. Everything that's said in this video is my own opinions and my own process, my own thought. But that is what I do. So feel free to ask me now. And somebody, Tashar, hello Tashar, has said joke now. Again, it's probably super delayed, but let's just open a page. Oh, these are the long jokes. We're going to go for these ones. What are the most musical parts of a turkey? The drumsticks? Like turkey drumsticks? This is terrible. It's only going to get worse. Like that was probably one of the higher quality ones, and Curtis is only here for the jokes. I don't blame him. The jokes and my beautiful face. He private messaged me that, so he knows the truth. Joke me now. I'm watching on my iPhone. Is that allowed? Ian, mate, I'm. Come here, mate. Ian, come here. Just sidestep with me, Ian, mate, come on. An iPhone, Ian, in an Android developer video. Ian? Of course that's allowed. Of course it is. The old bait and switch, baby. Oh dear. All right, should we do something? This is bananas. I'm sorry. I'm having a great time, so I think that's all that matters. Let's talk about what we are going to do today. And in fact, this lets me trigger my very first transition on OBS. OBS transition. Did it work? I don't know if it worked. This is terrible. You should hopefully be seeing my screen and my face in one fell swoop, and hopefully it's not blurry or pixelated. Graham is watching from under my bed. Hey, buddy. Yo, clean up after yourself, okay? Graham. Anyway, I have in front of me this note thingy app. I've got a pen and doodling, and it's really annoying. I wish I wasn't 15 seconds behind. I feel like I'm partaking in jokes that have already happened. Anyway, doesn't matter. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make an app. I'm going to call it Disher because I'm terrible at naming conventions. This is going to be a recipe app, if you like, an native Android recipe app. It will do the following. It will have 3 screens. So I'm just going to quickly doodle some blocks, some terrible blocks. The first screen will have simply a list of food categories. So, for example, seafood or vegan or whatever, right? When you click on one of these rows, one of these entries, it'll take you over to this next screen. And in this next screen, again, it will simply be a list of, this will be individual dishes. So we've got like a category screen over here, a dish screen over here, and this will be a list as well. And in case you hadn't guessed it, when you click on one of these dishes, it'll take you over to the final screen. And this will be, I don't know what it's going to look like yet. We're going to just figure this out as we go. A detail screen of that individual dish. Sorry, this should be dishes. Is it yes? I don't know. An individual dish with a nice picture of the dish and some instructions on how to cook it and stuff like that. Okay? So great. We have the basis of the app. 3 screens, easy peasy, from one to the other. Easy cheesy, right? With this, there's one question that should immediately jump out to those of you that are paying close attention. Is this data, Ben? These categories and these dishes, where are you getting them from? Well, I'm going to be using this API, this publicly accessible API called the MealDB. And if you go to themealdb.com/API, it gives you a list of their endpoints. And this is the bit of preparation that I did before. There's a couple of endpoints that I want to point out to you. This one. Blah, 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 API, JSON, v1, whatever, at the end of it, categories. If I just paste this into my browser, this gives me a list of food categories. So that satisfies the data for number 1. And then we have, if I scroll down here, you can filter by category. So clicking the category like seafood will show us a list of, well, let's just see it. A list of dishes, and then the final one, the dishes have IDs in them. There you go, meal ID, meals. I should call them meals. And then you can filter, there's one more endpoint here somewhere. I think it is gone. It's gone. I can't find it. It's here somewhere, but my eyes aren't working properly. But I can use the ID to find the meal information as well. You get it. There's this API. We've got 3 endpoints. We're going to use that to build our app and fill it up with the sweet, sweet data. Okay. Oh, some questions. Sorry, I shouldn't leave these alone too long. Just Android. Aaron dabbed. Marvelous. Back later. Have to build a train track. Ian, come back with an Android. I was going to say iPhone. No, you do you, boo. And Hassan, sorry if I'm butchering the name. Hassan, I think it is, has pagination. I'm afraid not. I'm too lazy. I've got to try and be relatively fast with this. We've already wasted 15 minutes. I'm sorry, but we can totally, in fact, possibly we can do pagination in a future video. Nice, clever. I'll jot that down. Emotionally jotting it down. Right, that's the app. Let's talk about the technologies. This is the important bit, and I think why I hooked a couple of you into actually coming to this thing. We are going to write this app entirely in Compose. What the hell is Compose? It's a way of writing UI elements, buttons, text, etc. in Kotlin. And it is the new fancy sexy way, Jetpack Compose. It got released to stable, version 1.0 back in July this year, and it is the hot new thing. Traditionally, writing Android UI would mean you have to write XML files to lay them out, and sort of it's a bit of a disjointed mess, and it's difficult. You have to inflate the layout, blah, blah, blah. It's not important. We're using Compose entirely, which means we get to skip a lot of things, and I'll talk about that as we get there. We're going to use the app architecture pattern called MVVM, and this, I might have lost a couple of you to sleep in on this now, but I mean, if you want to go, you go, you do you, boo. We're going to use MVVM to make this app. It is a really nice subset of the clean architecture pattern. It's a way to split up our code so that it's readable, maintainable, testable, usable, editable, etc. And it stands for M for model. Our data, how we're modeling our data that's coming in. In this case, a dish would be a model. V for view. That's another sort of split that we make, the view, which will be written in Compose. And ViewModel, the last VM, ViewModel, which are the really nice mechanisms for feeding data to your view to make the view have things on it, if that makes sense. Anyway, MVVM. And the final bit is we are going to use Hilt, Dagger Hilt, as our dependency injection framework. And that's really sounds terribly boring. I'll explain it when we get there, but it's also a bit of a new-ish deal as well. So I think a couple of people will have some questions on that front. Yes, we got Eshan. Oh, okay, sorry, that's how you pronounce it. Eshan, sorry. Where are you, my friend? I'm in Berlin, Germania, Berlin. Thank you for asking. Yeah, how are things in Iran? How is Iran? Whereabouts in Iran are you? Right. So those are the ideas. Hilt, Compose, MVVM. We'll do the app like that nicely. I'm going to just do it as we go. And if we have extra time, which is very unlikely, then I will consider the following. Tests. I'm not going to do tests out of the box. That's not exciting. That's not sexy. It doesn't sell live streams. But if we have time, I'll do some testing, I promise. View states. We'll talk about that in a bit. Error handling. I should probably do that as a basis, but not going to. Multi-module app. Really, if I was doing proper clean MVVM with good build times in mind, then I would modularize my app. I'm not going to do that. I'm too lazy. I'm going to just stick it all in the app module. We'll talk about that in a second if you're confused. And the final bit is the way that this data comes back with the dishes is a bit weird, a bit messed up. And there's this, I've written a like a dish JSON serializer thing. We'll cover that if we get there. I don't think we will. So shall we begin, my friends? We're actually going to get Open Android Studio now. So before I do, I will make one final Hail Mary to you all and say hello. If you want to write me a message, please, I beg of you, just in the chat. There's no silly messages. There's no silly questions, I promise you. If you're a complete beginner in the Android world, then I welcome you, and you are absolutely in the right place. If you're advanced, then you probably will fall asleep during this video, but maybe my ridiculous energy will keep you awake. Who knows? But everyone is welcome here. It's a safe space. There is no bad questions. If you've got a question like, what is Android? Then I'll answer it. I'll do my best to answer it anyway. All right, let's get to it. If at any point you can't see the screen, it's too small, whatever, let me know. I am going to try and jack up the font a little bit here. So I'm going to open Android Studio. I did promise this would be from scratch, and I'm going to try and explain it as we go in bits. So Android Studio, new project. My computer is being super slow because it has to deal with all of this. Right, when you make an Android Studio brand new project from scratch, usually you have these options in front of you. You have things like basic activity, bottom nav activity, empty activity. If you selected one of these options, it would create a bit of code, boilerplate code, template code for you that would use the old view system, the XML view system, and it would set you up down that route. However, as of Compose becoming stable and this version of Android Studio, which is called Arctic Fox, we have this option down here, the empty compose activity, which does the same as the aforementioned other activities, but instead makes compose by default, gives you lots of compose. So let's click on that. Probably spending too much time on that explanation. Let's give our app a name, Disher. I'm just going to blast through this. It's really not important. The language selection is Kotlin. I can't select another language because Compose is written in Kotlin and can only be used by Kotlin. However, in the other ways, you'd be able to do Java app programming if you wanted to. If you're a lunatic. No, I'm just kidding. Java is still okay to do, but come on. Come over to Kotlin. Come to Kotlin. I promise you, you won't regret it. This is weird now. I'm going to break this mic simply by spitting into it too much. Anyway, I need to hurry up on this. Disher, we're going to finish. We're going to hit app go. This thing is going to take a couple of seconds to do what it needs to do. It's going to pull in some dependencies. It's going to sync. And whilst it's doing that, I'll just look to the chat again and see how everybody's doing. In fact, whilst it's doing that, I'm going to just have a look at how many views we got. Okay, 5 views. Totally cool. Totally happy with that. That's awesome. I'm happy if there's one person even. Oh, there's a couple of views. This is dope. Okay, I'm super excited to have you all. If you've got any questions, don't forget to ask. I'm just letting this thing finish. If you see a loading bar at the bottom, then that just means be patient. Wait, it's still doing its thing. And things will slowly populate. And finally, when the bar is gone like it has now, let me move this thing out of the way. Let me make this full screen. The application, the code base is ready to be played with. And what have we got here? What have we got here? It's given us some bits by default, and I'm going to explain a little bit about it, but not a lot about it because I want to get on. To start with, this is Android Studio. On the left, we have a view of all of our files and folders, and on the right, we have our code that we are going to be writing, and this auto-generated code that it's given us. And you can already see some of these functions here in Kotlin that are tagged with the word composable. That means they are Jetpack Compose functions. They are this declarative way of describing UI. So, for example, this greeting function declares and defines some text. Okay, easy peasy, and so on. We'll come back to that in a second. Over on the left, I'm going to switch my project view to be project. This actually sort of shows me how the actual files and folders are. If it was the other version Android, some things are like concatenated, and I just don't like it. I like to see the real version of it. And we have this app folder. It might be a little small on the stream, but it does say app there. I wonder if I can zoom that panel in. It doesn't look like I can. It says app, and it has a green little dot on it. This is really important. Our project here can consist of multiple, what they're called modules, Gradle modules. Graham has written, Android Studio, I thought you were using Vim and Gradle. I could, but my terminal's on this window for my notes, so but I want to do Android Studio as well because I'm worried something will go wrong. But thanks, Graham, for outing me. I am a Vim user, not all the time. And in fact, for Android development, I find that the Android Studio ecosystem is so juicy and so powerful and really nice that Vim just feels like it's nice for quick edits. I'll always open Vim if it's a quick edit that I don't actually need to like run or see a preview of or something. But yeah, if it's a big dealio, then Android Studio. Can you zoom in? It's difficult to see. Absolutely, I can zoom in. Thank you for saying that. Please keep reminding me if I don't do that. Anyway, back to the side window here. A Android project can be made up of multiple modules, okay? Modules, keep that word in mind. And this app folder here is a Android application module, okay? So that is the bare bones. Every project will come with this app folder. That is where our app sort of code lives, the app module. We could add to this project different modules by right-clicking on the project at the top and module here. And we can just pick from this list of different types of modules. For example, the one at the bottom, Java or Kotlin module. If I want to make a module that just contains like logic-y code, Java or Kotlin, it doesn't refer to Android views or classes at all, I could make a module for that. I could also use Android library if I was creating something that does refer to Android, like a view, a reusable component or something like that. And the benefit of having these multiple modules in this application, one, it helps with build time. Gradle, which we'll talk about in a second, the building system only rebuilds the bits that have actually changed. So if you've got multiple modules and your logic and all your bits are segregated nicely, then the build time will have a positive effect on it. And the other reason is for proper clean architecture. I'm not actually going to do it, and I'm sorry, I might be selling myself down the river here a little bit, but I'm not going to do multi-module now. If I've got time, I'll take everything and sort of refactor it into multi-module. But what we would do is maybe have like a data module that does all of the data layer stuff of MVVM and clean. We might have a domain module that does all the domainy business logic-y stuff. And of course, we might have a presentation module, which might in this case just be the app module. However, what is important though is this build Gradle file inside of the app module. This defines something very important. Now, very quickly, when you make an Android app, let me just whip over here, you are creating something that, does this work? This doesn't work. Whoop. No, okay. Why is that not working? Okay, forget that. Doesn't work. We'll just make a brand new doodle. Bloop. Okay, this is weird. Okay, thanks, whatever's happening here. Do you know what? Forget that. Forget trying to educate through visualizations. It's too difficult. What was I going to say? Yeah, the way that we make an actual Android app, right? It's this collection of code, images, translations, videos, audios, all these different pieces somehow have to come together to create one runnable, executable thing for the Android phone to run. So we use a build system called Gradle to do all of that. It takes the code, it smashes it together, it takes all the resources, smashes it together, and turns it into what's called an APK file. So the file extension is .apk. Fun fact, that's actually sort of the old school way of doing things now. The new school way and the way that the Play Store accepts is by making an AAB instead, an Android bundle. I'm not going to talk about that. Feel free to check it out in your own time. But what is important here is Gradle does something really, really useful for us. So if I scroll down here, Gradle automatically drags dependencies into our code base. So imagine my app needed to make a network request to a API. We shouldn't be expected to recreate the wheel here. Somebody far cleverer than myself and probably less handsome has created an HTTP client that we can use as a dependency. We're not going to recode that. We're going to reuse that. And that's a lot about what Android development is. It's about reusing components that already exist. I'm not saying you should like cheat and copy and paste from the internet. What I'm saying is there's a standard sort of collection of dependencies that every Android developer sort of knows about and sort of utilizes. Anyway, if we didn't have Gradle to do this, we would have to get the dependency, for example, Retrofit, we'll see that in a second, get the jar file or get whatever files of that, drag it and paste it into our repository, into our folders as part of the build. That's awfully manual. What happens when there's updates and changes? Exactly. You get the picture. So instead, what we do is we put the dependencies in the Gradle dependencies block here, and Gradle does all of that dragging in for us. Okay, cool. I definitely went off on a tangent there and spent far too much time on that. But what I'm going to do now is begin to set up our project. So first of all, I'm going to start in the build Gradle file for the project. So there is a project level one, a really top level one that's above all the modules. And then there's each module has their own build Gradle file. This is where we put our app dependencies. And the other one, the top level Gradle file, is where we put our dependencies and settings that are common across all modules. And what you can see here is this app, the pre-made app, the generated code, 2 seconds, sorry. Yeah, has already started putting in stuff for us. Compose_version. This is the Compose version that we're going to use. When I was setting this up, the Compose version at the time was 1.0.2. But now, as of the 29th of September, literally yesterday, we now have Compose 0 1.0.3. Yummy, tasty. However, fun fact that the Compose version 1.0.3 depends on Kotlin version 1.5.30. So see, my current Kotlin version here is 1.5.21. That would be a no-fly zone right there. So I'm going to edit that to be 1.5.30 and things will start to work now. Now, I'm going to sync the project, and syncing basically is like, download the dependencies, update whatever I need to update. And I need to do some things now in the actual, the module level build Gradle. How's everyone doing, by the way? I know I'm going probably quite slow, but we're hopefully keeping people up with me. So first things first, first things first. Let's do a build. Let's do a build right now. Let's see what actually happens when I hit play. So I've got a phone plugged in on my desk over here. I'm going to put on a sort of like mirroring app in a second when it runs. But for now, let's build. And we get an error. That was planned. Let me see if I can zoom in on this screen. Oh, I can. In this error, it says Android Gradle plugin requires Java 11 to run. Yes, absolutely. So how do we fix that? This is so easy. Scroll down in your app level build Gradle, and this is the offending area of code. You can see it says Java version 1_8. Change that to version _11. Change that there as well. And over here in the Kotlin options where it says JVM target, change that as well. And in fact, you can use that Java version variable above and just access it the exact same way. So now we've got that. If I sync to make sure that Gradle knows about the changes to the sort of configuration and run again, it will fail again. Yes. Okay, cool. Whew. It'll fail again. And it's for a very similar reason. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I just changed the settings that are important. But there's one more that you might not know about. In Android Studio, because Android Studio is doing our build, if I was to do the build in the terminal, away from Android Studio, using my setup, it would work. But Android Studio has something else. If I go to File, Project Structure, SDK location on the left here, I hope people are keeping up. And in here is where you define your Android SDK, really important. And there's also this one at the bottom, Gradle settings. If I click that, have a look at this at the bottom. You might not be able to see it because it might be too zoomed out. I'm sorry if that's the case. But it says Gradle JDK 1.8. That's unacceptable. All we need to do is tell Android Studio, shut up Android Studio. We're not using JDK 1.8. We're using JDK 11. Get with the program. So in my list, I have version 11 right here, pre-downloaded. If you haven't got it, there is a download JDK option there right for you. Delicious. So I'm going to hit 11, hit OK, and now we're going to run it. And let's see what happens. It's running. Whilst it's running, let me tell you one last thing. If I scroll down to the dependencies of our app module, let me just sort of split these up a little bit here. I'll put a line between them. All the ones that say implementation, they're our sort of like actual like dependencies, other libraries that we're bringing in that will be part of our app. You can see Compose. You can see Compose. When we clicked the empty Compose activity as part of the Android Studio setup, it brought in a bunch of dependencies for us, so we don't even have to go and hunt for those dependencies. It is juicy and brilliant, and it has finished building for those of you that can see my screen. So what I'm going to do very quickly is load up screen copy. So in my terminal on the other screen, I'm writing the command scrcpy, screen copy, and what that does is this beautiful thing. It loads up like a mirror of my phone. So the phone, the physical phone, I don't like working on an emulator. This physical phone and what's on the screen is sort of mirrored onto the desktop for me. Oh, it just crashed. Marvelous. Oh, it's because I mashed the keys over there. It's mirrored on the screen and is now on our screen for us, easy to see as day there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So it built. We've got past the first annoying part, which is the Java 11 situation of it all. Let's just understand what we're seeing here on this phone. This is the phone. Hopefully, you probably can't see it again because the text is too small, but it says Hello Android in tiny, tiny font up in the top left. So let me just switch this back over here. Let's try and understand how that's happening. We've got the blue bar at the top. That's an Android system bar. We're not controlling that at the moment. We've got the bottom navigation bar. Again, Android system bar, the black one here with the back arrow, home button, etc. We're not controlling that currently. But the bit in the middle, this big chunk of white, that's where we are. That's where we're controlling. And we have this activity class. An activity in the Android world, you can just think of as a whole individual screen. So we've got the main activity, one individual screen that Android knows about. And we have this set content function and all of this weird lambda-y Kotlin syntax in there. That's Compose. That's Compose code and it's juicy. It is saying that we have a Disher theme. What is a Disher theme? Well, if I just command click on that, it takes me to this file. When we created the empty Compose activity, it automatically generated a Disher theme. And this is one of the powers of Compose. We have super easy, super powerful control of theming our colors, not just colors, but our typography, our fonts. It goes to material theming. So we can use things like H1 for big text, H5 for smaller text, primary colors, secondary colors, etc. And we wrap all of our juicy Compose content in a theme that's pre-made. Obviously, we can edit it. Lovely. I'm not going to do that right now. We have a surface. No one cares what a surface is. It's got a background color. What is that background color, you ask? Great question. I just clicked the exact wrong thing. If I go to my Disher theme and I look at the colors here, we are in a light color theme. The background, I think, is as a default background, color white. There you go. And that is the other power of Compose, the fact that I'm able to command click all the way through to find the answers. Usually in Android, you command click to places and some bits are stubbed, some bits are hidden, some bits are complex as hell. But just quickly there, I was able to show you, like, I was like, okay, there's this material theme background color. Where am I getting that? Well, I head to my theme, look at my color palette. I didn't overwrite it, but I'm starting with this light colors function, so I can look in there and immediately see background white. Anyway. Went off on a tangent, but that's the point of live streaming, right? You go off on tangents and people follow you down the rabbit hole. Inside of this, we have this greeting thing. I'm going to command click on it. This greeting thing is a composable function. These are individual slices of Compose, individual pieces of UI that we can reuse. And you can see that greeting just has text in it. And if I command click text, takes me off to this crazy bananas file. This is a Compose sort of basic unit, if you like, the text block. And it simply says hello, and then this argument parameter that came through in the greeting function, and here Android. So that's why it's saying hello Android. Mystery solved. So to start with, I'm going to nuke all that because screw pre-made things. I'm in fact going to be an absolute loon and get rid of the surface as well. So we've got in here, we've got our to-do area, which is where we're going to do all of our lovely juicy Compose. However, before I do that, I told you it'd be disjointed all over the place. What I'm actually going to do is bring in a bunch of dependencies that I know I'm going to need throughout this project. Get it out the way now so that later we can just reap the benefits of it. And I'm going to explain each one as I do it. To start with, I'm going to bring in something called Hilt. Okay, so let me just command. I'm going to paste this in. Apologies about pasting in code. It's never a good practice. It's better to understand what you're pasting in. But these dependencies are very much copy and paste. You can see also that these yellow blocks tell me that there's actually a newer version of it, and I can change to the newer version. I'm not going to do it in this case, but these are the dependencies I need for Hilt. Hilt is that dependency injection framework I was talking about. We'll talk about why that's important a little bit later on, but it really helps with like a clean app. With Hilt, I need to also add some plugins at the top here. I'm going to paste in Kotlin Cap and a Dagger plugin. These are Gradle plugins that help Android Studio understand some of the code of Hilt so that I can get annotation processing happening, some autocomplete bits, all of these things. It helps Android Studio understand about the dependency graph and dependency injection from Hilt. So now, with these things, there's one last thing that I have to add, and I always forget this last one. One final line to copy and paste. Not in the project level build Gradle. This is going in the not in the module level build Gradle. This is going in the project level build Gradle. I'm going to go in here into the dependencies block and paste this final class path thing, which is one more Hilt Android Gradle plugin. Again, this is across my modules. This is basically saying, hey, Android Studio, Hilt's here, baby. Hilt's here, and we're using it. Without that, it wouldn't really work. So we've added one line to the project level build Gradle. We've added two plugin IDs, which sort of just stating we're using these plugins in the app build Gradle. And we added a chunk of dependencies in the app build Gradle as well. Hilt is now here. I'm going to save. I'm going to sync. And a question has just come in. Perfect timing whilst this is syncing. Excuse me. Oh, my goodness. Esan has asked, what is a dependency graph? That's a really great question. Dependency injection is this wonderful and terrifyingly complicated concept, but once you've got it, it sort of makes sense. When we're defining our dependencies, and a dependency is literally anything that something else depends on. So, for example, the really great example that people always use is a car. If you're writing a car class in Java or Kotlin, a car class, some of the dependencies in the constructor of the car class might be a wheel. It depends on a wheel. In fact, it depends on 4 of them. It might be an engine. And that's fine. And we can go back to our main Java class. And when we declare the car, we can also above it declare wheel, and engine, and pass those 4 things in as dependency parameters. But that's fine. And that's essentially dependency injection. However, that's not great. Simply because it's not just going to be 4 wheels and an engine. It's going to be a huge plethora. Let me get a little zoom in, crash zoom. Huge, there it is. A huge collection of dependencies that are going to be needed in variety of different places in your app. And it's just bananas. So we use dependency injection to basically tell our Hilt system, we say, hey, Hilt, this is a dependency that exists. If ever you need to put that somewhere, use this. I'm going to create this dependency right here. Use this and inject it into places. And what we can do when we're creating things, when we're creating a car class, we can tag it with this inject keyword. You'll see a bit later. And what it'll do, it'll go, oh, shoot, that's me. Hilt, I need to do something. This car class is asking for an engine and 4 wheels. Do I know how to make those things? It will go back to where we said, hey, Hilt, this is how you make a wheel. And it'll go, oh, I know how to make a wheel. Here is a wheel. And it gives you dependencies that way. And it sounds really convoluted. It sounds really silly. And it seems like an abstraction for the sake of abstraction. But trust me, I was so resistant to a dependency injection when I first started. I was like, well, I'll just make the thing and pass it in. But this is Android. There's life cycles to contend with, configuration changes to contend with, all sorts of manner of things to contend with. So dependency injection is your best friend, I promise you, and you'll see just why. Anyway, long explanation. I hope that helped, Ehsan. Please let me know if it didn't. Oh, and the dependency graph, by the way, is simply Hilt determining, there's a car. It depends on 4 wheels and an engine. It sort of creates like a little node graph. Not a visual one, obviously, but like a node graph so that it can traverse this graph and find, oh, that's how I make a wheel. Here's a wheel. Cool. We now have Hilt in our app. Okay. Next dependency I want to bring in, and I'm just going to, the next ones are even smaller and easier, so just a couple of lines here. Next one I want to bring in is something called, oopsie daisy. Next one I want to bring in is one called Retrofit. Now, remember my example before about remaking the wheel? My example was a HTTP client, and a HTTP client is basically anything that makes requests to a HTTP URL, aka a website, aka a URL, right? And Retrofit is a HTTP client. So I don't need to rewrite one. I don't need to, from scratch, use the real raw Java APIs for HTTP client and deal with headers and HTTP verbs and all that kind of stuff. Retrofit does it for me, and it makes things so beautiful and easy. Beautiful and easy. Okay? So Retrofit's in there. We also have a sneaky extra one that came in there, which is a converter for JSON for Retrofit. Talk about that a little bit later. But for now, I'm adding that. You don't need that one, but that's one that is going to be important for us a little bit later. In fact, I'm actually going to bring in one more like sneaky extra Retrofit one. I wasn't sure if I'd do this, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to group it with the Retrofit ones there. This is another one of those converters that I said I'd talk about later, and this is called scalars. Again, I'm going to talk about this later, but this will make things really easy for me immediately to test if my connection to the server is working as it should be. We'll talk about scalars later, very soon. Oh, we haven't even got out of the build Gradles. How's that? How's the numbers doing? How's everyone doing? Oh, 10 viewers. This is bananas. Hello, everyone. If you're just joining us, there's like a 15-second delay on this thing because I'm an idiot and I didn't press low latency. So we got the normal latency. But hey, there we go. If you've got any questions, ask them in the chat. I'm just setting up the project, the sort of Gradle of it all at the moment, adding dependencies. We're going to jump into Compose and stuff real soon. It's going to get messy and juicy. If you're still here, give me a holler in the chat. Hello. In fact, let's have a joke. Should we just have a joke break? Everyone brace yourself. Get comfortable. Get comfortable. Oh, in fact, not now. For the next one, first person to write a page number in the chat from 1 to 288, I'll pick a joke from that specific page. Excuse me. But for now, I'm just going to open it here, and we're going to do a joke. What do you call I can't even do it. What do you call a flying skunk? A smellicopter. I'm going to wait. Curtis Cobley has written 45, so I'm going to mark 45 for later for when we come back. Hey, Kurt. Hey, Curly. Stay with us, baby. How you doing? I'm going to hold 45 for later. Write more page numbers in the chat. How did you like that smellicopter joke? That was genius. I'm going to get that tattooed on my forehead. Let's just continue. So I've added in that extra dependency that we're going to talk about later. And the final one, thank God. All these weird dependencies. I haven't even started coding yet. Thank you, Tushar. I'll put you next in the list. You're in my mind here. 45, then 42. The last one I want to add is this one called Coil. For those of you that know Coil, you're probably big fans of Coil. Coil is an image loading library. Image loading library. Literally, give it a URL for an image on the internet. Google cat, find an image, and find the URL for it. You could load that image in your app. But Coil literally makes image loading easy for us. Remember, bring in dependencies. Don't recreate the wheel. Coil for Compose. I can give it a URL and it will slap that image on the screen for me. It'll do some fancy caching as well, so it doesn't need to make redundant network requests. Coil is juicy. This is really silly, but I watch YouTuber, Twitcher called The Primogen. He does really great Vim videos. Holler in the chat if you watch Primogen as well. I'm feeling a lot of Primogen energy right now. Like, he does a lot of cool, funny things that always makes me giggle. So I'm definitely channeling some of his spirit right now. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful because it makes me have fun. Right then. We have our dependencies. Guess what I'm going to do? Hit sync. Hit sync. Tell Gradle, download that stuff. Download it. First downloads will take a while. Future ones won't need to download it because it's already there. Gradle's clever. Gradle's got this stuff. Okay. We have dependencies that we need, and we're going to start writing some compose. So let's just start, I guess. Let's go back to the designs. Oh, God. Let's go back to the designs. These premium designs drawn by a very talented designer. Spent a lot of money on these designs, and they're great. The first screen I need is this categories list screen. So let's make it. Let's make it. This cable's getting in my way. All right, cool. Let's make it. First things first, I'm going to go to the, where is it, Firefox. This is the MealDB. The first URL we want to access is the categories one, wherever that has gone. Where is the categories? There it is. This one, I'm going to copy it. One more time, I'm just going to paste it in there, and it gives us the categories of food. All I'm going to do is just take this over here for later. And yes, the Netflix guy. Yeah, he is the Netflix guy. He did Primogen. Sorry, Tushar said the Netflix guy in reference to the Primogen. He does work at, I think, Netflix. Yeah, he is very funny. I'd recommend him. Yeah, he's brilliant. I love his stuff. And I'm a big Vimmer. I'm using Idea Vim. If you can see the little V there inside of Android Studio, because I refuse to click and move my cursor that way, and I'm a lunatic. Anyway. What I wanted to do was just bring this URL into somewhere where we can see it for later. So I'm just going to paste it there. I'm going to zoom in again. Right. The main activity. Okay. In fact, I'm going to use all the screen space. We need all the screen space we can get. Just to start with, I'm going to put in here a simple text compose element. I'm going to write the text. Hello, YouTube. In fact, let's pick. Tushar said number 42 seconds. So we're going to do Tushar. This is audience interaction at its best. So I'm adding in, I've got rid of the old bits. I'm going to add in hello Tushar, and I'm going to hit play again and watch how quickly this will happen now. So this is the, this is the first build after a Gradle sync. So this might take a little while, but in future builds, this will be really, really quick. And in fact, in Android Studio now, there's this edit live literals option. I have it turned off because, again, I'm weird. I don't know why, but if I had edit live literals turned on, when I change things like texts and colors and padding, it automatically updates. But I don't like that. It seems too much like witchcraft to me. So anyway, hello, YouTube. And then Tushar. Tushar. So yeah, there you go. We've changed some compose. Again, hard to see there, but we changed compose. What I can do now is I can go and make a new compose function because we're not going to put everything inside this one file. We're not going to put everything inside this one set content function. I'm going to write the word comp and hit enter. And comp gives me, it's like a shortcut key in Android Studio to create composable functions. Let me zoom in again a little bit more. Now I have a function that's already annotated with composable, and I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to just put, I don't know, let's call it Disher app, okay? This is the Disher app. This is a composable function. I'm going to get rid of this bit here, and the first thing that my app is going to do is called Disher app, and inside the Disher app now is where we're going to do stuff. And the Disher app, of course, I can put composable stuff in there. I can put composable base blocks in there, text, columns, images, whatever. I'm moving the compose bits around. Let's do one step further. This is all in one file, the main activity file, and I want to split my code up in an MVVM way. So I want to make it so that things are segregated correctly so that we can maintain them, read them, edit them properly. In the Disher app over here on the left, I'm going to add a new package. And we're going to call this the category package, because this is where I'm going to put the code for our category list screen. Okay, again, architecture question. This is the interesting bit. I'm going to put everything inside this app module. I'm going to put the service for the category. I'm going to put the repository, the view model. We'll talk about that when we get there. I wouldn't do it that way. I would prefer to do a multi-module app, split it up that way, and have modules with, you know, service dependencies and pass. Anyway, going off tangent. Let's just do it like this. Category module and a category package, and a package you can just think of as a folder. Inside that folder, I'm going to do a new Kotlin class, and I'm going to call it the category screen. Category screen. Let's zoom in on that bad boy. It is not a class. I'm going to delete that. It is a composable function. I'm going to call it category screen, like that. Category screen. It's in a separate file now. But it's still a composed function. I can still call it. So if I go back to my Disher app, I'm going to call category screen here. So when my app runs, it's going to, inside of my theme, it's going to put the Disher app composable. The Disher app composable just calls my category screen composable. Cool. Okay. So inside now, if I put any code in here, in fact, I'm just going to put in the word category, and it wants to import compose, obviously. So I'm going to put the word category in there. I'm going to just rerun the app really quickly just to prove that we're splitting it up now. We're splitting it up. Are you sharing the code in GitHub? I will absolutely share the code in GitHub, Louis, afterwards. Once this episode is finished, I will push it as it is. Push it as it is, he says. That's dangerous. But yeah, I'm going to push it as it is. And I'll share the repository in the description of the video. Is that all right for you? Is that okay? Otherwise, I'll post it on my Twitter as well. Oh yeah, check me out on my Twitter, Ben_Kadel. Right, so the app's run. You can see the word category. Our category screen composable is there and working. Huzzah! These are boring UIs, but what I want to start doing now is start bringing in some other UIs, start building the UI, and I also need to somehow get that data from the endpoint. So let us begin, first of all, by pretending we have some data. Okay, I'm gonna write a function get fake data, and get fake data is going to return a list of strings. Okay, and the first one will be fish, the second one will be vegan, and it's upset because I'm not returning here from the function signature a list of strings. Okay, it's too much information there for it. It's a bit peed off here because I don't need to tell it about strings again. It's clever enough. Kotlin knows. Get fake data. Just for now, fake data, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the fake data in my compose. This is just a terrible example, by the way. I'm going to call it categories, and I'm going to call get fake data and get the result of that there. So I've called fake data. I'll have a list of fish, vegan, and let's add one more, meat. And then the power of compose comes into play. I want to now take that list and render for each object, render a piece of UI, something to look at for each object. So let's do that. I'm going to use the column composable to start with. And a column can be really easily thought of. Let's see if I can just do this because I need to visualize things, yo. I need to visualize things. Yeah, but why won't it let me just delete you? Oh, it does! Huzzah! Okay, cool. A column in Compose can literally be thought of as a thing that each of its elements, each one of its iterations, goes down in a vertical list. Column. There's also a row composable, which is the other way around. It is a collection of elements that's arranged one after the other. If we didn't do a column or a row, we would by default be using box. And box, if you know Android world, is a frame layout. So everything just draws circle, square, diamond, draws exactly on top of each other, which is useful in some situations, but we want to use this column. So let's go back to the code. I'm going to do a column. And then I'm going to do categories, which is that list of fake data for each. And then for each category, I'm going to do a text object. So I'm going to do a text composable for each one of these. And I have for each gives me sort of each one of these in turn. So fish, vegan, meat, and they're strings. So I'm just going to use the keyword it here, which will be the iteration, the individual line for each iteration. Nice. I'm going to hit play now. I'm going to see what happens. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, amazing. Oh, brilliant. Excellent example. So you can see the word up here. I don't know if you can see that. Everything is like smashed together at the top. Category and fish are being written over each other. And that is because this text category is outside of my column. If I just move this inside of the column and rerun it, again, I don't know if you can see this. I'm really sorry. I should have thought about this. Now you can see the words clearly, hopefully. Category, then fish, then vegan and meat. Because of the column. Because remember, the default, if it's not in a column, is this box. It's this lay on top of each other kind of thing. So nice. But this data is fake. Let's get some real data. What I'm going to do now is go back to the MVVM of it all, okay? We have forget M for now. View, the V stands for view, and that's our compose. We're working on that right now. It's terrible, but we'll come back to it. The final one, the VM, is the all-important one, which stands for ViewModel. Okay, and this is the all-important component that makes MVVM possible as an architecture. It gets data from somewhere, from a service call, and packages it up nicely and hands it to the UI so the UI can render it. Okay? So let's make a view model. My transition songs are just awful. So what I'm going to do inside of my category package, I'm going to right-click new. Not new class, new package inside the package. You don't have to do this. You can just put it all inside the category package, but I like to split it up even inside of that. And my new package is going to be called ViewModel. So remember, package, aka folder. Inside of that new folder, the ViewModel, I'm going to make a new Kotlin class, and I'm going to call it category ViewModel. Okay, category ViewModel. Zoom in. This is my first view model that we're going to be making this session. I'm going to do all of this sort of first screen quite slowly and talk it through, by the way. So the category screen, I'm going to go through each bit quite in detail. And then after I've done that, the other screens I'm going to sort of fly through a little bit and do some cool extra bits. Hopefully, we'll see. Category view model. Now, we're going to extend this. So this class is going to have a parent class of view model, the all-powerful Android lifecycle view model class. This is so powerful. In 2017-ish, when Kotlin was announced, this view model class was also made, and this enables our data to sort of survive configuration changes. When you rotate the screen on a phone, what you're actually doing is destroying that activity, aka that screen, and Android has to remake it. But with view models, it gives us this extra protection, and we'll talk more about that in a second. Anyway, this class was made by Google and is recommended, made by Android, made by Google, recommended way to do things, and it is absolutely the best way to do things. Now, I'm going to do a couple things now that are going to terrify you, but bear with me. I'm going to tag this view model with Hilt view model, okay? Remember Hilt, that dependency injection framework? This basically tells Hilt, hey Hilt, this class here, this is a view model. You know what to do with this, okay? You know what to do with it. And we're also going to make inject constructor. And what is going on here? I've given this view model now. I haven't actually given it any constructor parameters here in this space yet. We're going to, though. This basically says you're going to inject things into this constructor. Remember that graph we talked about earlier? You're going to go to that graph. You're going to see if our graph knows how to make cat classes, and you're going to make me one of them. You're going to give me one of them from the Hilt graph. There's been a question. What about using space? In the compose, I suppose, on the category screen. Yeah. So, I mean, inside of the column, we could add, there's these wonderful spacer elements in compose, and we can add a size to it. So we can say spacer dot, I want to do height because this is a vertical list. I'm going to just make it something stupid like 30 dp or something. Ooh, inside the brackets would be helpful. DP or density pixels. And you don't just, in our Android world, you don't just do pixels because the phones have different resolutions, and a pixel isn't a pixel on every phone. It's sort of either stretched out, shrunk down, higher resolution, high DPI, blah, 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 boring. DP, you can sort of interchange in your mind with pixels in this case. Anyway, so I've added a spacer from Zara. I don't know what happened to me there. I've run the app. And you can see there's a space between category and fish of 30 dp. Yeah, we can totally use spaces. We'll come back to that in a second. We'll come back to the UI in a second. We're going to get the data first, and then we're going to mess around with it. So back in the view model, this class takes data from somewhere and passes it to the UI. Where does it get the data from? Well, let's keep on going. In MVVM, in MVVM, we split up our classes like this, and this is sort of the clean variation of MVVM. We have the view, which is our compose function. We have the view model, which literally is that this category view model here. That's our view model. And what we can do now is we can use something called use case classes, use cases. And these use cases are basically sort of intermediary classes that sit between the view model and between the repository where the data is gathered from. And it can do business logic on it. If, for example, we wanted a list of categories, but we only wanted the pictures on our screen, maybe the use case gets all the list of categories with all the data and just strips the images out and passes along the line. In this app, the use cases are going to be pretty much redundant, but I want to make it clean, proper architecture, so we're going to use use cases. After use cases, we have, I said it already, the repository. And the repository will talk to a data source, and it will grab the data. And the data source will either be a server, a remote source, like an API, or a local source, like a database or a file on the system, whatever. In this case, the repository is going to have access to the service. I can't write very well. My handwriting's appalling. Which will literally be our API endpoint. So let's create these three bits here: the use case, the repo. You're going to use one view model per screen instead of one shared view model. Louis, I'm going to use one view model per screen. So there's going to be a bunch of view models. It may seem like crazy redundant code, but I guarantee it's not. Like if you have a shared view model, so one view model, and multiple views depend on it. If you change one function or one sort of piece of thing in that view model, all three screens or all screens will be affected by that. So it's better to have one view model per screen, and then at the use case level for that view model, do the differences there, if that makes sense. So maybe you'll have one data source, like one shared data source, and you'll instead pipe it into the use case, do some stuff there, pass it off to the view model. But it's good practice to have one view model per screen. Hope that helps. Let's make use cases, repos, and service. Let's do this real quick. Okay, so the view model will depend on a use case here, and we're going to do that right now. Again, category package, make a new package. I'm going to call it use case. Again, this is maybe overkill, but if the app ever got bigger, then at least my stuff is really nicely sort of split out. Inside the use case, I'm going to call this the get categories. Categories use case. Get categories use case. Zoom it on in. Okay, here is where it starts to get a bit fun and wacky. I'm actually going to make an interface called excuse me. God, that's disgusting. Sorry, everyone. Called get categories use case. So this is the interface that sits on top of this. And the reason that I'm doing this is for future Ben. If I'm going to do some testing, it's really easy to mock interfaces and give sort of fake data back. So I like to do interfaces. This is something that the wonderful Graham Bryan, who I don't even know if is still in this call, taught me back when I was learning. Interface, abstraction, all this kind of stuff. Really, really powerful stuff. This get categories use case, I'm then going to extend from the get categories use case interface, and it currently doesn't do anything, which is fine. And here we might have a function called get all categories, can't type. And for now, I'm just going to return a string. We're going to come back and deal with that in a second. And you can see this one here, the implementation of the class has turned red because we need to override. If I just hover over it, it says it's not an abstract and does not implement its abstract members. And its abstract members are the things that I just create here. And in Android Studio, if I just start typing the word override, you can see the second option is override get all categories. So now this get all categories use cases is a get categories use case. Whoa, Graham name drop Lamau. Oh, it's Clayton. It's Clayton. Clayton's here. Oh, let's have a joke break whilst Clayton's here. Curtis said page 45 ages ago. Page 45. I'm on page. Oh, it's too blurry. It's page 45. I guarantee it. If you want a page of this book to get a joke from in the future, put your page in the chat. Hey Clayton, welcome, and here's a joke from Curtis. Oh God, that's dreadful. How is How is cat food sold? Per can. Per can. Per can. Per can. And James says, Clayton, he was here before blowing his own trumpet. Clayton's like, yo, what up, dude? I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you? How's life? How's tricks, bro? What's cracking? I don't know. Per can. I'm going to use that somewhere in the app. Don't forget, put your page numbers in the chat if you want me to read from that page number. The next one is Tashar's at 42. I've got it. Emotionally locked in my mind, Tashar. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten. If you're still here, buddy. Anyway, this function here, the get all categories will return. Eventually it will return the categories, but for now I'm just going to write the word cadu. In fact, I'm going to write the words per can in there. So right now it's sort of faked, it's mocked. It's not doing what it really does because we're going to wire up the other bits. We've got our use case. Go back to this chart, use case. Hooray! It's sort of mocked, but we're going to link it up in a second. Next, repo. Again, category package, new. Package, I like, again, this is overkill maybe, but I like to split things up. It makes it nice and neat. Inside the repository package, I'm going to make one called the category repository. And this is where we'll start to have some disagreements. And we'll talk about those disagreements in a second. Some people in the chat might say, Ben, you can have one damn repository. I turned my mic off. It was a really heavy moment. People are going to say, Ben, are you going to have one goddamn repository per screen? To which I say, yes. And I'll explain why in a minute. Let's just write this repository for now, okay? Again, I'm going to stick interfaces on front of this thing. Again, you might say it's overkill. Repository. Again, this is for testing. This is for future, Ben. Also, it's not just for testing. If at some point in the app I need to extend it and we need to have different versions of the category repository, the fact that we interfaced it makes it so much easier to do that. So, not just for testing, for extension, for solid principles. Google it. I love this microphone. All right, inside of this class will obviously inherit from that I category repository as well. I'm taking way too long. Let's move forward a little bit. This function, the repository, again, as I said, the use case repository layers are sort of redundant because all they're going to do in my app is go, hey, the ViewModel is going to go, hey, use case, give me that. The use case is going to go, oh, hey, repository, give me that. And the repository is going to go, oh, hey, service, give me that. I'm not really going to affect the data at all, but this is good, clean architecture. So in this one, I'm going to call the function as well, get all categories. It's terrible. For now, I'm going to return a string because I can't bother to think about the model just at the time. Again, errors because I haven't overridden get all categories. And right here, I'm going to return page 42, which is the next page. Right, we have the repository. We have the use case. Let's wire these things up, okay? So inside the repository as a parameter. Now, here's the alarm bells, and here's where you really need to pay attention. Dependency injection. Okay. Right now, if I create a use case, right? If I create one of these get categories use case, I need to pass the repository as a parameter. And remember, it's not just that. The app is going to be massive. There's going to be dependencies all over the place. So we're going to rely on Hilt now, okay? So in this get categories use case, I'm going to add the @inject annotation, which is going to say, hey, Hilt, can you stick a I category repository in here, please, when you find it and you know how to make it? And Hilt will go, yes, I will. And now we need to do something else. We've connected that bit up, but we haven't told Hilt how to make one of these I category repositories. And not just that, Hilt doesn't know how to do that. It also is, I'm passing in like an interface. I'm passing in an interface. It needs to know which implementation of that interface I want. So this is where you need to pay attention. In the Disher app, I'm going to make a new package called DI, stands for dependency injection. And inside of that, I'm going to declare something. I'm going to declare a Kotlin class. I'm going to call it app module. Now, please, I beg of you, do not get this confused with the modules on the side here. Hilt has also modules. These modules on the left are Gradle modules for our apps, our libraries. The modules in here, which will be tagged at module, okay? These are Dagger Hilt modules. These are basically places where we can declare to Hilt, hey, Hilt, this is how you make one of those. This is how you make one of that. Hey, Hilt, that's how you make one of that, okay? Literally like a recipe list. Ooh, recipe list. So with Hilt, we also need to do one more thing. In the old Dagger world, we had components, which were really complicated. I'm not even going to get into it, but basically we needed a Dagger component and we needed to collect all of our modules into that component and then give our app that component. Hilt makes things so much easier. It's instead inverted. I have this install in, okay? There's no need for components anymore. No need for components. We have this install in. And at this point, I can pass it different levels where I want this dependency, collection of dependencies to be installed in. I could say at the activity scoped. Activity scoped, I think is the correct, activity scoped. So just for that individual activity. Pratik, hello Pratik, you just come in. Hello. There's about a 15-second delay on this stream. Apologies if you wrote that message ages ago. We're just setting up the Hilt dependency graph at the moment for our category screen for our food app. Okay, you'll understand in a second. So we can have activity scoped. We can have all sorts of different scoped. I think there's even a fragment scope. So for fragments, we're not even using fragments. Forget that. The one we want and the one that you'll see all the time is singleton component. Okay, this is a singleton component is literally a Hilt component for singleton bindings. Singleton basically means that these set of dependencies, whatever's in here, will live through the entirety of the app's life. The moment you start the app, we've got a dependency. There'll be for example, if I have a cat dependency declared in here, that cat will be the same throughout. Okay, cool. So singleton class. Now, this is our sort of start of the recipe. Oh, let me get rid of those redundant thingies. There, by the way, I'm on a Mac. I hit Control, Option, and O to remove redundant dependencies that were grayed out. Useful. And to auto-format, by the way, let me just kill that, is Option, Command, L, and it auto-formats for you. I use these all the time. It's like muscle memory. Very Primogen. By the way, how is everybody doing? How's everything going? Hit me up in the chat. What's going on? Who have I still got here? I've got 11 viewers now. This is bananas. You need to stop. I need to keep working because otherwise I'll lose you. Right. This is where we tell Hilt how to make some of our dependencies. So what are we trying to make? Let me just remember. We are trying to say how to make a category repository. We need to know how to make a category repository, right? I think, or if I skip that step. No, category repository. So what I'm going to do, this class app module is useful when I want to have function bodies. So if I needed to have a function to tell Hilt how to make something, and inside that function I needed to do some setup. I needed to, okay, yeah, A is 1, and then you need to return A plus 1. That'd be cool in here. But I don't. All I need to do is basically say, hey, when you're being asked for an I category repository, so the interface I category repository, please return me this category repository implementation version. Bananas from Ian. Okay, so we can even make one step even quicker. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make an interface app, terrible naming convention inside this. I'm going to make an interface inside the class, which you can do in Kotlin, which is awesome. And I'm also going to tag that with module, and I'm also going to tag that with install in singleton component. And this is, again, me just declaring another list of dependencies to make. It doesn't need to be nested. It's just how I've done it, and I could, don't worry about it. The interface, remember, interfaces don't need bodies. I don't need to, in Kotlin, actually, you can have bodies for interfaces, which is bananas, but in the Java world, you couldn't. But the power here is that if I've got something that I don't need to set up, like I don't need to set up this I category repository, I just need to connect the dots, then this is a really great place to do it. I've probably gone really far out here. Let's actually do this. So a new function called provide category repository. I can't type. You know, it's the phenomenon with developers when they're being watched, they cannot type. Okay, I category repository, and this is just some sort of Hilt daggery stuff now. So the bit on the inside is what you want to return. So I want to return it doesn't matter about the name. I want to return a category repository, okay? But when I'm, in fact, let's keep this on one line. I want to return a category repository implementation when I'm being asked for an I category repository, okay, interface. Nice. This is the function body that basically says, hey, whenever I get asked for I category repository, aka right here, you can give me that. You can give me that implementation instead. And all we need to do here for Hilt to connect the dots is tag @binds, which binds one to the other, binds them together. And I think we can even do singleton here as well, just to ensure that when the app makes this repository, it will not make a second one. There will only be one repo, and everywhere that we ask for it, we will get the same instance back, and that's really, really powerful. Dependency injection as well. Dependency injection framework, really, its core power here, that we can sort of control when these dependencies are being created. Right, I'm wasting far too much time here. We've told Hilt about how to make things. There's one more component that we need here, and we need to go into the main, and I need to make a new class really quickly, and this is just to connect up the dots. Disher, I'm going to create a new Kotlin class called Disher Application, and this is really silly. This is just boilerplate. Do not worry too much about this. I'm going to delete the implementation of Disher class. I'm going to extend from application. This is an Android application extension here. So this is me saying, this is my application class. I can use this class to listen for application events, blah, 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 blah. Not interesting, but what is important, and if you don't have this, it won't work, is tagging this application with @Hilt Android app. @Hilt Android app. If you don't have this, Hilt won't work, but having this will make Hilt go, oh crap, this is a Hilt jobby. I need to do something. I need to make these dependencies and connect the dots with the graph. Not just that, but we need to go into our Android manifest file. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what this is. If you are really genuinely interested in like what the hell this is and some of the other files in this project, then I've actually made a Android project structure explained video in my channel. So I go into super detail on that, but it's shorter than this video and it'll give you a proper explanation. So go check that out. The thing I need to do in the manifest is, oh, excuse me, mashing the keys, is tell my application in the manifest that it actually has an application class inside this code base. Hi to the very team. Baron Orm, my dude. I don't want to out you with your real name, so I will just say, hello, good sir, and how are you doing? So what I need to do is tell the manifest that I have actually a Disher application that will take control. That is an application class that will be my application class. And not only that, but it has this @Hilt Android annotation, which is the important bit to generate the dependency graph. Whew, nice. Now, we've done that first bit. So now, if we go back to our class here, the get categories use case, you can see this little up arrow here in Android Studio. If I click that, this is telling me where my dependency is coming from, where it's being generated from. You can see it's taking me back to literally that place where I declared it. That's huge. That's so important. It's so powerful to see that. Not only that, where the dependency is, it's instead of an up box, it's got like a little sort of tree box instead, which takes me to the places where the dependency is being used. So I can see the graph sort of in real time. This was such a pain in the past. You had to like search the code base for the class name and sort of look in the modules, and it was a nightmare. Here, you just click on the side. Dope. So because our dude Baron Orm has arrived, let's go back to the joke book. I'm wasting so much time. It's already been 1 hour and 15. I said I'd cap it at 2, and I've got nothing done. Let's see if I can get one screen done. One screen, but let's get a joke first. Tashar, you said page 42. I am actually going to have to ask the audience, please put page numbers into the chat from 1 to 288. Or 282, I think I just saw. And I'll read from that page a joke in a second. Here we go. Tashar, this is for you, buddy. Oh, no. Okay, this is dreadful. 2 cannibals are eating a clown when one turns to the other and says, "Does this taste funny to you?" Okay, that was a pretty good one. Tashar has so far won the game of joke. Page numbers in the chat, please. This is so weird. I feel like such a Twitch streamer. I'm sorry. Different energies coming out of me. Baron Orm. Hi, Clayton, James, Graham. Hope you're all doing well. Ben is smashing this. Bless you. Bless you kindly. Let's keep on cracking. We've found out how to declare dependencies. Now, the use case knows how to be created and it knows where to get its repository from. Now let's connect this use case back up to the view model, because remember in our little diagram, the view model has access to a use case to the repository to the service, which we haven't done yet. In the view model, I'm going to add the val use case, and it's going to be an I get categories use case. And again, you're saying, Ben, it doesn't know how to make one of those yet. And we haven't got the fancy little icon next to it that says where the dependencies are coming from. So we go back to the app module, and you probably would split this up in a little bit of a better way than I'm doing. You might have a module for use cases. You might have a module for repositories. You might have, however you want to split it. I'm just going to stick it all in one file for now. I might split it out later, but I need to hurry up. So fun, provide, get category use case. Someone tell me a joke in the chat. Use case. I'm going to do some shorthand here and it's going to be awful. Remember, I just tell it the thing I want, the actual implementation, get categories use case. And then on the right, when I'm being asked for get categories use case here on the right there, I need to tell Hilt / Dagger Hilt binds to connect the two together. And again, I'm going to put singleton just to say whenever I get a use case, I always want the same one over and over. Now, immediately we've got this. So I'm going to click here, and this is going to tell me where the thing that is... sorry, hang on. What's going on here? So get categories use case. If I click this, it tells me that the class, and then I can click up again to take me to the dependencies. I'm sort of getting a little bit lost off topic here, but the little down tree arrow shows me where that dependency is being used. And now back in the view model, you can see this up arrow now. So it takes me to... Okay, I need to stop being such a fanboy. Coding and Flow is here. I'm sorry. Hey, Florian, buddy. How you doing? Welcome, Coding and Flow. If anybody doesn't know, obviously I'm an avid YouTube watcher. I waste most of my life on YouTube. I watch Coding and Flow. He's wonderful. He does the best Android videos himself. Philip Lackner, Coding with Mitch. Awesome channels. Go check them out if you're enjoying Android at all. They are legends. Sorry, Coding Flow. I will reel my fanboyness in right now, but I'm going to crack on. Anyway, I have just told Hilt how to make these dependencies. I need to go back to the view model, and now you can see whenever I make the view model is going to say, okay, I need one of these I get categories use cases, which now Hilt knows how to make. Okay, it's going to use this to make this. And when I'm getting an I categories use case, bear with me, I'm actually getting the implementation of it. And when I'm making the implementation of it, it needs to say, okay, I need a repository, an I categories repository. And then it goes, okay, well, I know how to make that because I've declared that dependency as well. So it goes and fetches that. And you can see how this graph is being made for us. Really, really nice. So I believe that I've actually wired up the first bits. So the view model has the use case. The view case here actually isn't using the repo yet. So instead, in the use cases get all categories function, I'm going to return repo.getAllCategories. So now I'm actually using that repository to get all categories. So if I click into that, we should be getting the page 42 string in a second. There was one more thing that I wanted to do really quickly. In fact, let's do this now, just in case we lose people. This is a really, really cool thing. Right now, I have this function called in the use case called get all categories. But my use case, I'm going to be really specific. They're going to have one function and one function only. They're going to have one use and one use alone. So I don't need to name this function properly. Instead, what I want to do is use this special invoke function. And this is a function that we can use. I'll just show you. It's far easier. So in my interface, I'm going to write operator fun invoke. Okay, this is the operator function invoke, and it basically means when we use this invoke function, we don't need to do, I'm just going to do it over here, we don't need to do repo.invoke. We can simply just do repo, open and close brackets like it was a function. These are really useful. So operator function invoke, and for now it's going to return a string. Little singy song there for you. Red over here again because I haven't overridden the invoke. What is happening here? I don't want to write it out like a pleb. There we go. Thank you. And now the invoke function's there. I'm going to actually just delete this line and have the invoke function talk to the repository. I'm going to delete the get all categories. We're not interested in that because look, get categories use case, it does one job. Maybe it could be better named. But now we have an operator function called invoke. We override the invoke function to point to the repository and get it that way, right? Nice. So when we go to the view model, and just for all intents and purposes, I'm going to write an init block, which is like a block of code that is run for the first time when this instance of a class is created. The init block, I'm going to call usecase dot, not invoke like that, because that's the pleb way. I'm going to get rid of that and just do open and close brackets. And look. No errors, ma. Look, no errors. And what that will do, it will find that invoke function, the operator invoke function, and trigger that as well. So our use case is going to have one function and one function alone. And that just makes it's really clean. It's really nice. Anyway, and because I'm using the use case in the init block, I don't need the val to sort of hold it as a member. Let's change that. Oh, man, I'm getting hot now. I'm getting hot. How's everyone doing? I haven't got a page. Oh, Ian Roberts wrote page 9. I saw it. I got you in. For anyone that's just joining us or is, oh my God, 15 people. What's going on? Stop, everybody, please. I'm too stressed. We've got this joke book to lighten the mood because we're coding some real dry stuff here. Oh, page 9 is the, no, there's the long ones on page 8. No one say page 8. Page 9 is the short ones. Here we go. This is for Ian. Oh my God, this is stupid. What did the big candle say to the little candle? You're too young to go out. Yeah, I thought it was going to be something about like smoking or on fire. Dreadful, but I love it, and we're going to keep doing it. Page numbers in the chat, 1 to 28T or something like that. Right, the view model is created. As soon as it starts, it calls the use case. It calls this use case, calls invoke, which calls the repository, which gets page 42 for now. We haven't wired up the service yet. So let's actually go back to our screen. Again, I'm going to do this one really long and drawn out, and the other screens, if I ever get to it, probably won't tonight, we're going to make real quick. Inside of the screen now, I need to get that view model. There's a pain in the ass way that I could do it, or there's a real easy, nice way to do it, which is using something called Hilt view model, using the power of Hilt and the graph to generate the view model for us and just give it to us. Just give it to us, right? So this category screen is currently being called from main activity inside our Disher app, right? I don't even want to pass anything to it. I just want to do it all right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do view model, I'm going to call our view model, which is category view model. And because this is a Hilt view model, all is good in the world. Not only does it know how to inject, but we can do this sexy thing. Equals Hilt view model. That's it. This is a default argument parameter in Kotlin, which is super powerful in the first place, meaning that if I call category screen without any arguments, it'll use the default. And it's going to generate this view model for me. I literally do nothing. Okay? So the model will be created. It'll go to the dependency graph. Hilt knows how to make a view model. It's right here. And its dependencies are right here. And obviously the graph all the way down. Immediately we call usecase, and usecase, remember, it returns a string. So let's just do one last thing just to check this works. I'm going to call val a and usecase. So we should get the result of the get categories usecase. I'm going to call log d bk, which is my nice little tag for log cat, and I'm just going to put a. So if I've done everything correctly, our dependency tree will be wired up. All of our dependencies and stuff are all created. And we should see BK with the word page 42 on it in the logcat. Let's run that thing. Hopefully this works. If it doesn't, it's good also because you got to have some fails. There we go. Failure! What have I done wrong? I've forgotten what I done wrong. Oh no, what's going on? Category repository is injected. Have I missed a thing? Did I miss a thing? I did. Here we go. Category repository. Doesn't know how to make one of those. I forgot to add inject constructor. Go back here. Import inject. Even if I don't pass it any parameters, this change will now fix it. It's now part of the Hilt graph, so at least now it won't complain anymore. Remember, when I'm asking for an I category repository, it's going to give me one of these, and it's going to go, oh, how do I make one of these? What dependencies do I need? Oh, nothing. So you can just have one. Booyah, booyah. Okay, it's built. Oh, God, it's built. Where did it go? It's built. What now? Okay, I've got another error. Let's fix the errors. Fix the errors. Can I create an instance of yada, 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 yada? Nobody cares. Interesting. Why is that? I know exactly why. I've forgotten one important thing. So the application is a Hilt application. So Hilt's like, yep, I need to make a graph. Here's what I need to make. Then we inject things at the view model and below, but the one bit I've missed is the view. The main activity, which creates the compose stuff, well, it doesn't know how to get things injected into it. So I'm trying to inject this this view model here, but it's like, I don't know how to get things injected. So one line you can add to the activity, and we'll never need to do this again, is at, Android entry point, at Android entry point. And now I can have things being injected into this. I could add member injection here as well if I wanted to, but we don't need to do that. All it needs to do is wire up the graph. Now the graph is fully wired. I'm going to run it. I'm going to put good money on it that this doesn't break. Good money. Good money. Good money, baby. I need to stop singing. Oh, there it is. Okay, so the app ran. This is so stupid. I've wasted so much time. I'm so sorry. And you can see the log, page 42. So we made the screen. We made the view model, which made the use case, which made the repository, which returns page 42. Nice. Cool. MVVM. Let's make the service now. Good Lord. It's an hour and a half and I've made nothing. This is live streaming, I guess. How's everyone doing, by the way? Any questions, please ask me, because I'm probably going to stop in half an hour, even though I've made absolutely nothing, and I'm just going to live stream again soon. In fact, I might just keep live streaming over 2 hours. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. Right, next up, I have this category package that has the use case repository view model. I am going to make another package. I'm going to call it service. And this is where things get exciting. I'm going to create a new Kotlin class. It's going to be an interface called iCategory Service. Okay, nice. iCategory Service. And this is where Retrofit comes into play. Remember that dependency that we brought in right at the start of the video here in the build Gradle, this Retrofit dependency. This is our HTTP client. And like I said, I don't need to rewrite the wheel. I don't need to rewrite my own HTTP client. Retrofit has one for me. All I need to do is use some sexy syntax to actually make HTTP requests. Now, going back to the main activity, we pasted this URL to get our categories. I could sort of just paste it straight in and crack on, but we need to do a couple of things because of dependency injection. So just bear with me. For now, we're going to write the base function. Fun, get all categories. Okay, get all categories, which is for now going to return a string. We'll worry about what it actually returns in a second. I'm going to @get. This is a retrofit thing. This annotation @get basically says, oh yeah, okay. So when you call get all categories, I'm going to make a HTTP request, a get HTTP request to the URL of your choosing. Okay? And inside I give it the URL. I could give it the whole thing, but we're going to do one step better. I'm just going to give it the relevant endpoint, categories.php. Okay? Nice. Excuse me, shouldn't delete that just yet. Somewhere in the app, I need to define the rest of this thing, though, this base URL. And if you hadn't already guessed it, I'm going to use the hilt of it all to give me a retrofit instance. Make sure it's singleton. I'm getting the same instance each time I ask for it. And do it that way so that everything is set up for me. I'll explain as I go. It's very, very straightforward. I'm just making it very complicated. Okay, cool. I'm just literally on my other screen over here, opening up. Where did I do that? I'm just getting an example of this service for my own benefit. Is it this one? That looks like it. Right. Sorry, I'm not copy and pasting, promise. I'll explain it as I go. So remember, I said here we're going to do in the interface if we've got things that we don't need to set up beforehand. If we're providing things that we already know how to make, there's no bodies to it like the repositories, like the use cases. But something like Retrofit, it has the builder pattern. We have to do some bits, some configuration to it before we can get it. So we use the actual class where we have to write the body. Provides Retrofit, okay? It's going to return a Retrofit instance, okay? And we're going to return something here. It's going to be a Retrofit instance. Let's tag the function with @provides. This is the opposite to bind, not the opposite to binds, but this is the one where it's basically like provides if we don't own the class. I don't own Retrofit. I need to sort of make it, set it up, and pass it along the chain. So provides is the best way to do that. Singleton again, and now we have Retrofit, but now we actually need the Retrofit code, and this is the bit that's majoritively just copy and paste, so just bear with me. Retrofit.builder, open and close brackets, dot. This is me saying, hey, build a Retrofit instance. The base URL will be, no, I didn't put it into my copy. So I'm going to copy the first bit of the URL and paste it in there. So note, when I'm going to make HTTP requests with this retrofit instance, with this retrofit thing that does HTTP for me, it's going to start with this URL, and in a minute, it's going to add categories to it. So here, I'd be able to do any of the bits that are in this, in this list of endpoints. I could do list.php, I could do, filter PHP, whatever, right? All just by adding different functions here. Nice, really powerful. So base URL. Oh, excuse me. What I'm going to do now is add this is the bit that I need to just copy and paste, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, this is really bad. Where did I do it? Where did I do it? I can't remember where I did it. 1 second. Retrofit. Sorry, I'm just using my other screen to cheat. I can never remember how to do it. Oh, there it is. Net module. Oh, man, I'm an idiot. I love that I'm an idiot. It's the best part about being me. All right. Perfect. So now we need to tell Retrofit some things, some configuration. We can tell it how to take the responses of its HTTP request and sort of force it to be a class, a Kotlin class, like meal or food or whatever, right? But there's one thing that I want to show you quickly first. Remember we added this scalars, weird scalars dependencies. This is really nice just for me to test that my whole sort of chain works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the line add converter factory scalars converter factory dot create. Okay, really simply, this is basically saying, okay, when I receive something, this scalar converter factory will take the response, like the raw HTTP response, and turn it into something. And specifically, the scalar factory turns into strings, which is really, really nice. So we can literally make a HTTP request and get it back as a string, as just text, and see that it works. Okay. Final bit is, we're going to add another one in a second, but we'll worry about that in a second, is .build. And now that is a completed provide retrofit function. This is in the app module. Every time we need a version of retrofit, we're going to provide it with this. It's currently not being used because we need this extra bit. Excuse me. I want to do one more. We've got this service at the bottom, and that's the last piece missing puzzle. We need to provide that somehow as part of Hilt as well. Let me just check how people are doing. We still got 10 people. This is dope. Thank you for staying around. I do appreciate it. We haven't provided this category service yet at all. So let's go back to the app module. We're going to do fun provides category service. Now, it's going to return, if you hadn't already guessed it, an iCategory service. But this is the interesting bit. We're not doing it like a binds because I need to do some sort of bit of setup, bit of manhandling before. So we need a function body here. Okay, I'm going to return something. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I need retrofit as a dependency for this function. So I'm going to say retrofit. I'm going to take in retrofit as dependency. But I never call this function manually myself. This is all done by Hilt. So what it does is go, where do I know how to make a retrofit instance? And it literally looks above it. And it goes, oh, that's how I make a retrofit. Have that. Slap at it, right? So I want to return retrofit dot create, and then I want to pass it a interface that does retrofit stuff, for lack of a better expression. So this interface that will have nothing but retrofit stuff, I need to pass it that so it can create all the connectors for it and do all of the code generation for me, because it does a lot of code generation behind the scenes. You know, with the HTTP client, I literally need to do nothing other than setting up this and setting up this. It's absolutely dope. So in here, I'm going to do the category service class.java. Lovely. Okay, there's a couple bits missing. I haven't tagged it at provides at singleton. Now look what it did immediately on the left. You should see this. Retrofit here. In fact, I make this a little bit easier. Drop it to the next line. Can you see that it came with retrofit? So I'm going to say, hey, how do I get the retrofit instance? Click to it and it jumps over here, because that is how it makes retrofit. It does it even inside of the instructions on how to make things. Amazing. So now when I want an iCategory service, our service, what it will do, it will use the retrofit it's got and add on to it this like sort of this boilerplate like add-on, so it knows how to call the APIs that we've defined, that we're interested in. How's everyone doing? Stream still holding strong? We getting there. We going. We doing things. So let's actually finally add the final piece of the puzzle. Now, the fact that I added this scalar converter factory will make life easier for testing. Like I said, I can say I want the response as a string, and it will give it to me as a string. So let's go into here. there's one bit I've missed, which is absolutely fine. Suspend. What the hell is suspend, Ben? Well, this call is going to make an asynchronous network request. It's going to make a request that we can't guarantee comes back immediately. Okay, so we could do stuff like RxJava to make it an async thing that we have to wait for and give a complete callback listener to, or something like that. Or we can use Kotlin coroutines, which are amazing. And all we have to do is just change and add the suspend word to it. And Retrofit supports coroutines out the box. So that's all we need to do, which is dope. However, let's go to the repository. We haven't wired up the repository yet. Let's do val service, and it's going to be an I category I category service. Okay, and we're going to call the service here. In my get all categories, I'm going to return service.getAllCategories. Now, remember, getAllCategories is a suspend function, coroutines. If I hover over this, suspend function should be called from a coroutine or another suspend function. To call coroutines, we have to call them from a coroutine scope. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go into that in this video. There are so many great videos, including by Coding in Flow, the absolute legend, Phil Lackner, that do great videos on coroutines. But to solve that problem, we're going to add suspend all the way up the chain. So I'm going to go here, add suspend. But of course, this is an overridden function, so I add suspend to the front of it. Nice. We go back up the chain. We go to the use case, which is red now because suspend needs to be called from suspend or a coroutine. So I'm gonna add. I think suspend goes here. So nope, I've gone that wrong. Thank you very much. Sort the canonical order. Suspend operator function. Again, this is wrong because I need to overwrite suspend fun. And now it's gone away, but we go back up the chain to the ViewModel, and we've got a problem here. Now, this is where we can actually use a coroutine scope, and this is awesome. ViewModels, this beautiful class, ViewModel, provides us with something called ViewModel Scope, which is a coroutine scope that we can launch in the ViewModel, and this asynchronous task, I'm getting excited, gets cleared up when the lifecycle owner of the ViewModel gets cleared up. Which is dope. So when this ViewModel gets cleaned up, any of these still running functions inside of coroutine scope will get cleaned up and killed and stopped, and it's good. So let's move this up one into here, and now there's no more red. We are calling this suspend function that goes all the way down to a suspend function from a coroutine, so all is good in the hood. And actually, we can now run the app and actually make a service request. So just to clarify, in the app module, we said how to make a retrofit client. We gave it the base URL of the meal database. We also told it about our sexy category interface that lets us not write loads of HTTP code. We don't want to. We just want to write 2 lines and do the same thing because of retrofit. It's all wired up now from the ViewModel all the way down to the service. Let's run this thing and see what happens. So the fact that I add that scalar, those scalar converters, has enabled me to look at the answer in string here in a second. I've got an error. I know exactly what the error is already. And people that do Android development are going to laugh because they've made this mistake as well, literally today. Let me just run the app again so we can see it. That's not the app. Where's Disher gone? Disher, there you are. Disher, come back to me, boo. Where's Disher gone? Let's just run Disher from fresh. Run Disher from fresh. Logcat has eaten. Logcat has bit the dust. I'm very upset by Logcat right now. Let me open a terminal window. The terminal will always defeat everything else. Log E. I have a thingy for it. Let's just open up this terminal and zoom in a little bit. Oh, there's that beautiful green text. There's our error that Logcat bloody fell over with. Oh, here we go. Expected URL scheme. Wait, it gets better. Well, actually, no, it doesn't get better to start with. That is an error, but that's a different error. Let's go back in here. It's because I have been a bit of a muppet. And in here, oh, yep, I didn't give it a HTTPS. Funsies. Let's run that again. I think it's HTTPS. I don't think it wants HTTP. There we go. And now we have the real problem. If you hadn't already guessed it, the 10 people that are here, by the way, hello, love you. Permission denied. Missing internet permission. Classic. Every Android developer forgets this because it's not stupid. It's good. We have to tell the phone via the manifest that this app is allowed to use the internet. So I'm going to just add use permissions, internet, close that. To the manifest file, which is basically our little contract to the Android operating system. Say, hey, we use the internet, we have this application, and we have this activity, okay? So now the internet is allowed. Let's run that again. Now the internet is allowed. Quick, put the BK filter on. Oh, wait, yeah. Logcat died. Stupid Logcat. Where'd my terminal window go? Did I shut it? I shut it. Let's get Logcat going again. Oi, oi, oi. Let's do log BK. I have things for everything. It's amazing. There we go. Wait. Don't look at that. Let me close the app and reopen it. Disher, where you gone, son? There it is. Oh, I hadn't closed it. Opening. Okay, don't look at that. Opening Disher again and watch the screen. Ha! You see? It made a HTTP request, and we have got our categories back from the network. We've got beef as our first result, and here, in the result up here, beef. We're making network requests. This is huge. This is dope. And we're able to see it as a string, which isn't exactly what we want, but now we have the proof that it works. And that's the most important thing. And I forgot what I was going to say. There was something really important I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Android Studio tooling now is fabulous, except for Logcat, apparently, because screw me. I'm going to start the app with the profiler mode. And watch what happens. We can also prove that a network request is being made. No, it's not going to work for me, is it? Oi, oi, oi. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. We can prove that a network request is being made here. You can see that little spike in the network column on the profile. If I just hover over it and select it, ooh, categories PHP has been called. And we can even see the response, the headers, the request. Beautiful. We can prove network requests in the profiler as well, just in case you didn't believe me. You thought I was tricking you, which is fair. Anyway. We've made a network request. Now, let's have a look at the time. Quarter. Let's fly. Let's keep moving. So, our service now returns strings. And that is fine, but we can't work with this garbage. I'm not going to go through and manipulate this string into objects. I want it to sort of force this JSON, because this is what it's coming back as, JSON, capital J JSON. I want it to force it to be like a class, like if I made a class, call it a category class. You know, I'm not actually going to write it. And we can do this super duper easily. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the category package. Again, right click, new package model. Again, overkill maybe. Maybe should have segregated this slightly differently. This might be in like the data layer if I was doing a multi-module app. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm being lazy. I'm going to right click, new, and then Kotlin data class file from JSON. This is not something that comes as standard from Android Studio. This is something inside of Android Studio, preferences, plugins here, plugins, and you can go and find, if I just type in JSON in the marketplace, it's right here, this one with this like white square, JK. This is a really powerful plugin to Android Studio. Install it, because it does this. Watch this. Right click, new, Kotlin data class from JSON. I click on it. It says, give me the JSON. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you the JSON. Let me go get this JSON. I want it raw. Give it to me raw. Give it to me raw. I'm going to copy the JSON response, like an example JSON response. Go back to Android Studio. Paste it in here. To prove that it works, I'm going to hit the format button and scroll back over, and you can see it's neatly prettified the JSON for us. And then it's asking for a class name. This is literally... let me do it. This is going to be a category... Not all capitals, lunatic. Category response. It's going to be a category response object that contains, wait for it, I'm going to hit generate. Watch this. 2 data class files successfully generated inside the module folder now. It's a shame I can't zoom in on this bit. Can I zoom in on this bit? No. Inside the module file, there's 2 new classes that I didn't generate. One called category, one called category response. I'm going to click on category response and zoom in. It's generated from that JSON response a class structure for me that matches the JSON. So you can see this category response has a list of categories, and the title of that variable is called categories. Look back at the response. It has an array in the response called categories. List of categories called categories. Categories, array of categories. It's done it for us. If I click into category, zoom in now, it's got all of these ID category, string category, all of these things, ID category, string category, that are defined in the response. And I've had to do 2 clicks of a button to generate that, as opposed to me sort of going, okay, I'm going to create a category response class. And it's going to have a list of categories. And the category is going to have this string, this thing, this string. Boring. It's done it all for me. I'm going to go back to the category service. Now, watch this. I'm going to change this string response to be a category response instead of a string now. A category response. So when I make the request, I want to have back in my code a category response object. I hear you yelling, what about the repository? Let's go to the repository. It's upset here. Let me change all of the string references here to category response. I'm going to copy that and just do it like this. Category response, get rid of the red, go to the use case. Go to here, get rid of the strings, paste over category response, paste over category response. Go to the ViewModel. Okay, and here now it's red because it thinks it's doing a string, but it's a category response instead. So let's do this. I know that a category response has inside of it categories list. Really useful. Thank you, Zara. Thank you very much. I agree. It's incredibly useful. This thing is absolutely dope. Plug in, download it. So now let's prove that. I've got the response. I'm going to change this variable to categories lists. That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't matter. Categories list. And if I Control-Shift-P on it, I can see the type of object is. It's a category response. So if I go and start doing this, category list dot for each, dot categories. So remember, it's that dot categories that lives inside of the categories response, which is a list. So I can do dot for each on that. And inside of that for each, I have, categories, exactly. It's a mess all over the place. Anyway, inside of that now, I've deleted that log statement because that log statement's useless to us. I've just deleted the curly braces as well, and I'm pressing the wrong button. Vim, get me. It's getting me. Now we have a category. So I'm going to do log.d just for our own sanity. Log.d, and inside of here, I'm going to do it, which is the category dot str category. And str category is, for example, beef, or where else is str category? Oh, this is useless. Chicken, for example, right? So I'm going to output all of those to logcat. Let's run this app, plug in my power cable before my computer dies, and let's see what happens. So it's running. Nothing's happening because logcat is still dead as a doorknob, which is silly. There was actually an error there. Let's have a look at the log. What a boo? What's happening? Oi, 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 oi. Where you at? I wish logcat was working. Here we go. Illegal argument exception. Unable to create converter for class. Da 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 da. Perfect. Thank you, error, for highlighting my next talking point. It's like I planned it. Remember, when we created our retrofit instance, here, we added this converter factory for scalars, aka you can take the response and turn it into a string if you ask for strings. But my service is asking for category responses, which is a complex object of other objects and lists. Dan has said page 13. Dan, I'm going to come to a joke in just a second. Page 13, right for you, buddy. What I need to do is also add one more thing, and this is the final missing dependency that we haven't used yet. This other one that I snuck in right at the start. The Retrofit JSON converter. JSON is an incredibly useful library in the Java and Kotlin world. JSON is written by Google and is basically a JSON to complex object converter. A serializer and a deserializer is the correct word. And what we're going to do really simply is add another converter factory in here called the what was I doing? JSON converter factory dot create. So now when I ask not for strings, we can probably, in fact, we'll delete that other scalars one. We don't need it now. When I ask for complex objects as a result of a retrofit call, aka in here, it will now take that, and if it can, it'll try and convert it into a category response. And it will be able to do that in our case because our classes that we generated are the exact match of the response. Let's see it in action. Play. Log BK, quick log BK. There it is, just in time. So the app ran. It's on my phone over here. You don't need to see it. It's the same old UI. But this time, instead of a big list of text of string, we now have each of our categories as complex data objects that we can reference. And if I just go back to here and do another statement log, instead of the, I don't know, string category, I want the string description. Sod it. Run that again. Give us a bit of space here. You'll see as it kicks in, whoa, it's a bit too much. There's the first line starter and then the description of the starters, I guess, an entree in modern French. Amazing. We have the data now. We have it in the form that we want to run it in, which is really, really powerful. So I'm going to take a quick break and go to page 13 for my boy, Dan. Page 13. Here we go, Dan. Joke coming your way. Hello to everybody, by the way, if you've joined us late on. 12 people. This is sensational. 14 people. It just ticked over. Thank you all for being here. I hope you're enjoying the lunacy. We're probably going to come to I'm enjoying myself, so I actually might just keep going. And if people want to peter off, that's totally legit. Anyway, a joke for Dan. If you're just joining us, if you write a page number from 1 to 280, I think it is, in the chat, I'll find a joke from that page and read it. Page 13, Dan, here's your joke. I can't do that one. No, that's rubbish. These are awful. These are letter jokes. Let's go with the least awful one. No, that's awful. Okay, let's do this one. In English, what comes after E? N. N. Wait a minute. I need to go to the whiteboard for this one. This is complicated. We need to explain this. I think, Dan, you took us to it. Oh, I'm zoomed in too much. We need to get to the whiteboard on this one. So what comes after E? In English, what comes after E? It's not like F. It's N. It's there. It's N! Dan! What have you done to us, Dan? The quality is now dipped below anything that I'll be able to recover from. But thank you, Dan. Page 69. Ratul, I will holster 69 in the old brain head. I'm going to do a bit more coding, and then I'll come back to it. Also, just let me know in the chat, how are you feeling about if we keep going for another half an hour or so? I don't want to go too long because, well, I want to go and, like, do other things. But I also am enjoying myself greatly. And if people are here and enjoying it and getting value from it, then let me know in the chat, and I'll stick around for a little bit longer. Right, let's get back to the code. If you've just joined us, we have made an app that doesn't look like much yet in Compose, in only Compose, that uses MVVM, and our Compose screen has a category view model which calls down to a use case, which calls down to a, which calls down to a repository, which calls down to a service. Beautiful, clean architecture-ish. And now we have made a genuine call to a service, to our food API service, this categories service. And now we can start actually doing something with that data. How about let's do this? I'll finish one screen. We'll actually take that data and slap it on the screen now and see something. And then we'll call it quits for the evening. How about that? Get your, so page 69, Ratul, it's in my mind, bro. It's in my mind. Your chats feel great, like talking to a friend. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my dude. Thank you so much. I appreciate that greatly. By the way, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking? Dan as well. Where is everybody from? I would love to know more about you all. And by the way, if you have joined late, ask questions. If you've got any questions, this is a super safe space. There are no silly questions. If you say, hey, what's a ViewModel? Hey, what's Kotlin? You know, ask me questions. I'm here to help. That's the point of being live. Otherwise, this just could have been a video. But let's crack on. I'll keep an eye on the chat. We have this categories list, and right now we're just printing them to logcat. We're just printing out the things fine, great, useless, boring. What we want to do is take from the screen, this category screen that we've got that doesn't really do much. It currently has fake data, and we want to take the result of the service and slap it on the screen. Easy peasy. First of all, let's get rid of some of these redundant things. We don't need the fake data. We don't need this categories for each anymore. We don't need this fake data call. Ratul from India. Wonderful. Welcome. Hello. Welcome. What instead I want to do, I'm from your wildest dreams, Curtis Cobley. Baby, you know it. You know, girl. Hang on, let's. I'll turn on sexy voice. Hang on. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Wait, I need to drop the gain. Hey, baby. You know it, girl. I think I could probably get put in prison or sued. So I'm going to stop that. Zoom out. Ben. Other way. This camera is too powerful. I'm far too powerful. Nala. My mouth. Nala has made the exact expression face that everybody should be making. I'm just going to have a sip of water because your boy's got a little dry throat action. That's something I never thought I'd be doing. Drinking water on a live stream. It's weird, isn't it? How things happen. How is everybody doing, by the way? I hope everybody's healthy and safe. Oh, we've got some chat. I also started Android dev, but every in my Clig was doing web dev, so I started web in peer pressure. Mate, I feel you. I started web dev when I sort of like... So I did a games programming course back at uni. I did games programming, C++, C#, all that stuff. And after that, like after messing around being a teacher and all that stuff as well for a while, I went into a web dev-based job, like a hybrid apps job where I wrote HTML, JavaScript. And there's a certain allure about web tech because it's just like, it's so easy to like stand up prototypes. It's so ubiquitous that there is help for every problem on the web. So I feel you. I totally get it. I feel you. If you fancy coming over to the dark side, the Android native side, let me know. I would love to help. And Clayton says, feels weird, man. Yeah, it does. It does. It should. It should. It should feel nice. I'm going to stop. Right. We have the category view model. We want to get the data out of it that we've just got here. How do we do that? Well, Compose chucks a couple of fun bits at us. These composable functions, we don't really have control of when they actually run. When this category screen runs, when this column runs, when it gets composed, right? So we need to have some way of like storing data sort of in the compose. It'll make more sense in just a second. And we don't know when it gets recomposed either. So when the system goes, oh yeah, recomposition. But it does get recomposed when any of these parameters change. So for example, if I had in the category screen, I had name, and this was a string, right? Whenever we called category screen with the name, Ben, for example, it's going to compose. If we change name, it will recompose inside of it, which is powerful, which is cool. Let me actually try and make a point here. Let me just do it and I'll show you what's happening. So first things first, this data is not exposed out of the view model. It's stuck in the view model currently. We're going to use something called state, which is a really, really powerful tool that is basically a data wrapper. State is a class that wraps data and it only sort of emits to it the things listening to it when something physically changes. If I omitted the letter A and omitted the letter B, the things listening would get the new state. If I omitted the letter A and then omitted the letter A, things listening would only get the first letter A and wouldn't be forced down the route of doing extra work for the same thing. Nothing's changed. So let's use state. I would like to do the private public pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a public read-only state, and this is going to be called list of categories, which is a state. And we need to look for the right one here, the compose runtime state. And it's a wrapper. So I need to give it the type of thing it is. It is a category. No, it's not a category. It's a list of category. There we go. It's a list of category. And that's going to read for the moment. That's our public read only. So things looking at that can only read from it. They can't write to it. Can't be edited it. It's a val. It's immutable. Can't be written to from outside this class. And then what I want to do is a private mutable list of categories. So I do this underscore pattern, and it's quite ubiquitous throughout the Android world. The underscore version is the private mutable version of the public thing. This is just for safety. This is just so somebody also using the API, if they haven't written this view model themselves, knows that they should only access the the public. No, not knows. They can only access the public immutable version. Anyway, list of categories, which instead of being a state is a mutable state of the same thing. List category. We need to initialize a mutable state. Lowercase mutable state of, and I'm going to give it its initializing state as an empty list. Remember, I'm giving it a list of categories. I'm going to start with an empty list, aka no categories. Now, this red thing is really easy to fix. The public read only will point to the private mutable one. So whenever I change the private mutable one from inside this view model, the public one will get notified of the change, and thus anything looking at it from the outside will be updated. And what do we do? Well, let's just get rid of this log stuff. We don't need it. I have a categories list here. All I need to do is in my mutable private mutable list of categories is call it .value and set the value to the thing that we want. Okay, so the result of our suspend function, the result of our service. Now, this is a problem because it wants a list and it's found a category response, so I just need to do .categories, and now it's fine. So I'm not actually passing back the whole response thing, I'm just passing back the list of categories. How's everyone feeling, by the way? Let me just click on this, see if the updated numbers kick in. 10, dope, dope, dope. I'm very, very honored to have all of your ears and eyes. So now when we start the view model, it'll make this request, in a coroutine. So it'll do this request first. And then once it's done, it will, I was going to say post the value. That's live data. It will set the value of the private mutable state, which will in turn, when the public read-only state is read, point to that thing, if that makes sense. So I can change the state from in here. Now, over in the view model, over in the compose world, this is where it gets a little bit weird. What I'm going to do is I have access to the view model. Patrice! Oh my goodness! Hey, Patrice! If you're just joining us, by the way, there's like a 15-second delay on the stream. So if you wrote that message ages ago, I'm sorry. Hello. How are you doing? It's been so long. How are things? I hope you're all right. Right, so here I have the view model. And I have this list of categories that's listenable to. It's listenable to, right? And what I can do is I can do this. Let me just do it and set it up for you. And then you can say list of categories in the compose function itself. And I want to do a delegate. So this by thing. And I want to do remember. And inside remember, I'm going to explain all this in a second. I just want to set it up. Okay. So, also, if you have this problem, when your remember function comes in, wait a minute. No, I've screwed up here. Yep, I've screwed up here. I don't need this. Hang 10, I've screwed up. Ben screwed up. Bear with. Where's my little notes? Where's my notes gone? I had some notes. Bear with me. Hang on. I promise I'm good at coding. What am I trying to do? The list screen. I've got examples because I can never remember the exact thing to do. Right, I did it right. So what's going? Oh, mate. Okay. I think this is the import issue. Yeah. Okay. So I think let me just check and prove it to myself that this is what. Yeah. Okay. Oh man, look at it trying to trip me up and think that I was wrong. So the weird thing that you just saw there was a bit of a bug in Android Studio. When we call the remember function, it doesn't like the import for it doesn't like connect up properly in the imports here. And all you need to do is find where you get the compose runtime in the imports, duplicate it, and then whack a star at the end. Or alternatively, you can do the better thing of set value and get value, which does the same thing, but it doesn't import all of the things so that you don't need. So get value, set value. Look at it trying to screw me over. Anyway, what have we done here? We have basically, this remember function is a compose thing, this remember lambda. And this is essentially like giving our compose functions a little bit of memory in the compose function so that when it gets recomposed, as opposed to this list getting read again and again and again and again, what we've got is like this little slice of memory. So it's going to be like, okay, I'm going to read a list of categories. I'm going to hold on to it. And if this function gets recomposed, remember, we don't really have control of it. It won't then again, unless the value is changed from the view model, it won't then again go, oh, I need to do something. I've got a bit of memory. I'm going to keep hold of it, which is nice. And it's clean. So now what I've got on this by the way, is a delegate, which basically means that I can delegate, as in the English sense of the word, the work for getting and setting the value of this thing to this remember function. And that's another power of the compose. Remember, I can command click into things. If I command click into remember, well, that didn't yield what I wanted it to. Basically in here that it's forget that. Basically this by delegates the getting and setting to this remember function. The remember function has, as you saw in there's some caching, so it has some memory built into it. Okay. Anyway, long story short, I have the list of categories right here. Let's use it. Oh, just messaged from Patrice. Doing fine. Already watching from the beginning. Woohoo! Enjoy. I hope you enjoy. How are we doing numbers wise? Okay. All good. We'll do a joke. Wait, there was a number from somebody. I've forgotten. Dan. Oh, 69. Ratul. Did we do 69? We didn't. Let's do it. For anybody that's joining, I'm an idiot. I am an idiot. And I'm reading jokes every now and then to keep everybody entertained. And if you want a joke read, just post a page number from 1 to 280 in the chat and I'll get around to it. This is for Retool. Page 69. Oh, dentist jokes. I was just at the dentist today, so dentist jokes. This is gonna be great. Okay, this is great. This is a great joke. So prepare yourselves. Sit down, get comfortable. What's the best time to visit the dentist? Tooth hurty. Tooth hurty. I know. I'm watching the numbers plummet now from 9 to 0. Well done, Retool. Great. I think you're winning the game of jokes now. Don't forget, post the page in the chat. I'm going to just wrap up this screen, and then we'll probably call the stream to an end for tonight, I think. Where did you get your lovely t-shirt from? Oh! It's my boy, Ed. Whose birthday is it the last day of September? It's on the 17th of October, so it's in 17 days. He said a page number. Hang on. I'm doing this for Ed right now because I know he's not going to be interested in Android development stuff. So we're going to do another joke right now and then we'll crack on. Okay, this is really interesting. I have made some, I'm not going to show you. I've made notations in this book about some of my favorite jokes, and page 237, which is Ed's recommendation, has one that's got an annotation next to it. So I'm not even going to look at the others. I'm going to just read this one straight away. Ed, this is for you. What? Okay, this is a garbage joke. Here we go. What do you get if you cross a bear and a skunk? Winnie the Pooh. Winnie! Whoa, this is weird. Your username is the Winnie, and the joke had the word Winnie in it. This is Illuminati kind of level of stuff happening here. Enjoy that, my very, very good friend. And the shirt is from the Color Run that me and you and another friend of ours, Cal, did together many years ago when we were younger men with knees that worked. Well, at least my knees worked back in the day. Right, let's carry on coding. I'm almost done with the live stream. Thank you for that, Ed. Miss you, buddy. See you soon. Patrice, it is really good to see you as well. And Retool, I hope you enjoyed your joke as well from before. Right. We're almost at the end of this single screen. I promised a whole app in this video. This is lunacy. I haven't even done one screen. We're almost there. List of categories now is the data. We have got this because we are listening to this list of categories state inside of our view model. So whenever that changes, we'll get updates. List of categories we can now do something with. Okay, I'm going to use a Compose component called lazy column. Lazy column, okay? If you are familiar with the Android world, a lazy column you can think of as like a recycler view with a vertical linear layout adapter. So it's a lazy column that does recycling. We can do scrolling on it all the way. Like it's for big lists that have lots of data. And remember with recycler views, you have to set up an adapter class. You have to set up loads of crap. This is it in Compose. This is a recycler view with that line of code. And it also comes up with this awesome little items block as well that lets me pass some sort of iterable. So in this case, list of categories to it. What's up with you now? Have I imported the wrong type of items? I think I've imported the wrong type of items. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Huh? There we go. Silly me. I don't know what it just imported there, but... Oh, there it is. Lazy items. Okay. So anyway, doesn't matter. This really cool block will run a composable function inside of here for every iteration of the item that exists in list of categories. So what I want to do here now is start actually doing some UI. This is our UI on the left. From the fake data, it's garbage. Let's write some more. New composable function down here at the bottom. I'm going to call it single category item. Okay. Single category item is going to take as a parameter a category there. It's going to take a single category and it's going to do some UI based on that. Okay. For now, I'm going to do a row. And remember, a row, if I just go back to my little doodle sheet, a row is this one here. Remember, we used a column for like a vertical list that goes from top to bottom. A row is a horizontal list, excuse me, that goes from orientation left to right. So a row, and what I want to do is I want to set up an item that looks like this. So apologies about this bad design. It's going to be like a card, like a material card. I want to have the category image there and the category name there. So a super simple, really ubiquitous view that's a row and a picture and a title. We can do this so easy in Compose. And this is the bit I finally wanted to get to. We talked about Hilt, MVVM mostly, not even Compose. This is finally Compose's time. So a row. Items will go from left to right, like that. So I'm going to start with an image, okay? An image. And it wants two things, a Compose image. It wants a painter and a description. Let's start at the back. A description is useful for accessibility. So there's folks that use their phone in an accessibility way. So maybe they have difficulty with their vision. They're not able to see. Maybe they're not able to hear. This is accessibility. And this content description is used when they're using an app that's built into Android phones that I cannot remember the name of now, but you can enable it and you can shut your eyes, or you can use it without the use of vision. By sort of touching your way around the phone, and you get bumps and you get readouts of things that you're hovering over, and you can it's really, I need to remember the name of it. If anybody remembers the name of it, put it in the chat for me. But this content description is useful. If I put in here a picture of, you know, whatever the dish is, when the user goes over that element, it will read that out to them, which is cool. Or if I don't want that to be an element that they can go over because it's not that important, I can use null. And in this case, I'm going to use null. And it also wants a painter. This is a little bit interesting. Okay, this is basically, I need to pass in something that this image is going to paint. I can pass in a vector painter. So if I want to use like SVGs or the Android drawables, for example, or I can use this remember image painter. Now, I'm going to get rid of request. This remember image painter is not in the Compose library as a standard. If I click on it, where has it gone? It is a coil thing. So I've clicked on it. You can, hopefully it's probably too small, but it's a coil thing. And hopefully some of you who've been watching the video the whole way through remember that cheeky little dependency I brought in, the coil KT coil compose. Coil is a network image loading library. And right now, excuse me, in my Compose is where I'm using it. And here is how powerful it is. A category, talkback, Lou, you saved me, talkback. And in fact, actually, if there's any Android developers in the watching this video, I'd really recommend to have a go at Talkback and see how your app reacts to Talkback, because I think you'll be entirely surprised how, unless you've done a really good job at focusing on it, how unaccessible your app is. And Compose, accessibility was always an afterthought in the XML view world. You could write content descriptions in your layouts, but it was always an afterthought and it wasn't mandatory. Now, by default, it's mandatory, and that's great. It gets people thinking about accessibility straight away. Beautiful. Now, this image painter here, remember image painter, there's that remember word. Anytime you see that remember word, we're talking about Compose's little caching system as well. It's a little memory bit. And Compose image painter, which is a coil thing, all I have to do is pass it a URL of the image that I want to draw. URL of the image I want to draw. Let's go back to Firefox over here. And remember, each category has this str category thumb. And these are the images. There's the beef one, yummy, yummy, chicken tummy, right? So all I need to do is pass in this str category thumb. Okay, so I'm going to do, we're passing in a category, remember? So I'm going to do category dot str category thumb. Booyah. Okay. It's experimental. Excellent. I don't want that actually. No, I want to opt in, so I don't need to put experimental all the way down the chain. More actions. Opt me in, baby. So if you use opt in here, that's the end of it. That's the end of the story. But if you use the other one, the at experimental, you're going to have to tag everywhere that function is like triggered in the process. I'm too lazy for that crap. Anyway, now that'll render an image for us. Let me give this image a little modifier. So in case you haven't used Composed yet, what the hell are you doing? Why are you taking so long? Modifiers are basically our attributes, if you like, in the old XML world. We can add padding or spacing to it. We can give it sizing, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, hey, make this image 40 dps. Remember, dps in your mind you convert to as pixels, but they're density pixels. They are specific for the Android phone that you're using. So there's the image in a row. So the image is going to be there, and then I'm also going to have a text composable. The text composable is going to be category dot and then str category. That's the actual, if I go back here, the actual name of the category. So we should row, left to right, image, text. And that's it. That's Compose. That's crazy. Now, I just need to wire up this bit. So for each item in my list of categories, I want to draw a single category item and pass Oh, excuse me. Let me do this a little bit better. So I'm going to call it item here. I'm going to name that lambda thing. And if I go over it and Control Shift, you can see that the item is going to be a single category. So I'll pass item into that. All of the problems will go away. And let's just understand this before I run it. In our view model, when it starts, the view model has made a network request and is going to put the result in this mutable state. The mutable state, the public read-only state is being read by our compose, and whenever this changes, this will recompose. This list of categories is being put into this lazy column, which is aka the awesome new recycler view. Super not needed to do anything, no adapters, nothing. And then for each item in that iterable, we're going to draw another little compose function, one after the other. And our compose function is this single category item. And for each item, we should see a row, image, text. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I need to see if I can get the phone on the screen quicker. There we go. There's the phone. It's just building. And, ooh, there it is. I hope you can see that. So it doesn't look like much. It still looks like garbage, but the basics has been set up. Each row is there. Our service request, beef chicken, is all there. The coil image painter is painting the image. Let's just make this a little bit neater here. Let's put this whole row inside of a card. So a card is like the material theme card. So like a sort of rounded edged sort of white block that's got a bit of elevation, so there's a little bit of shadow under it. Let's already run that and see the difference by adding one function around it. So you can see, I don't know if you can see that, the lines are there. They're not filling up the whole space. They're just wrapping to the content, so to the text and to the image. Hello, viewers, by the way, 12 now. Hello, welcome. We're just doing some compose. So let's do some stuff to the card. First of all, the cards here, the card edges, they're touching the edge, and I don't like that. So I'm going to do modifier.padding. Ooh, padding. I'm going to give it a padding of 8 dp. So I can't type. 8 dp. I can't type. This is a nightmare. 8 dp. So for each card, before it draws the card itself, it will put a bit of spacing around the card. Let's just run that and see it immediately. Hopefully, when it runs, it's pretty quick. So now you can see, hopefully you can see that. Maybe it's too small. I'm sorry if it's too small. The card edge is now not touching the edge of the screen. Beautiful. Awesome. Now, want to do the same to the row, because if you can see, the contents is touching the edge of this card. I don't want that. I want a bit of padding inside the card. So look how easy this is in Compose. I'm going to do a 16 dp padding inside. Okay. Let's do that. And before I carry on, don't forget, with Compose, you can command click everything. I'm going to command click card and show you that this awesome card, which is a material theme card, has this elevation parameter to it that defaults to 1 dp. So the shadow is only like 1 dp. The elevation, you can change that. So in this card, after the modifier, I'm going to do comma, elevation, and I'm going to just whack it up to something stupid like 8 dp. Okay. Auto format, save. Now we've changed the elevation. We'll see a bigger shadow, and we've added some padding inside the card. Let's run it again. Ooh, there we go. Okay, this looks awful as well, but hey, I'm not a designer. Raid, hey guys, and hi Ben, awesome videos, bro. You really helped me. Thank you so much, Raid. I truly appreciate it. I hope this video has been interesting and entertaining for you as well, if you've been around for this video. For anybody that's just joining, I have this dreadful joke book. We're doing some Compose, we're doing some MVVM, some Hilt, but every now and then we'll read a joke from this joke book just to ease the tension, because I know this stuff gets pretty dry. So if you want a joke read, just write me a page number in the chat from 1 to 280-ish, and I'll read you a joke. Thank you, by the way, for the lovely comment, Raid. It truly means a lot to me to hear that, so thank you. Right. So now you can see the cards are sticking out a little bit more. Hopefully you can see that on the stream. There's a bit more shadow. They're a bit more pronounced. And now we can start messing around with some values. Let's whack up the image size to 80. Let's do inside the row. Remember, command click. We can look at everything. Zara asked an incredibly important question. The question is there margin in Compose, or we have padding? This is a beautiful question, and I have some actually insight to this. I spoke to the Google guys about this in a Compose session that they did a while ago. Margin does not exist in Compose as a title. Margin does not exist. You only have padding. However, it's the way that you use padding dictates if it is margin, as we know with the old box model, or if it's padding, as we know with the old box model. They were originally going to call this padding spacing, which actually I like better. If they'd called it spacing, it would have been nicer. But they went with padding. They sort of fell on one side of the fence. And it's about how you chain and order these modifiers depends if it's sort of margin or padding. So here in this card, I did a padding, and that sort of, if you can see, that's the padding around the outside of the card. So that's essentially margin, if you like, because it's padded before the content. Does that make sense? And then this row has got padding, and that essentially, I guess, is padding because it's, it's inside this card view. But if we just actually go to tools, inspect layout, you basically, I wish they'd called it spacing because it makes it so much more easy to think about. In your mind, call padding spacing, and just know that there's no margin. Margin is made by using padding in such a way, right? Inspect. Okay, forget that. I'm not doing the layout inspector. But what you'd see if I had the layout inspector is just that this card has padding around it. This row inside the card has padding in it as well. And so the row sort of starts here, if that makes sense. I'm not explaining myself very well, but Zara, that is a really important question. I'm glad you asked it. There is no margin in Compose. It's just padding and how you use it. Okay? Hopefully I'll clear that up in a second a bit more better. Anyway, so back to this. This is what we've got so far. It still looks like garbage. Let's change the text a little bit. I'm just going to, remember, command click on everything. Text has, if I scroll in, we can do font size for text. So let me go back here. Let me do font size. I'm going to do 24 SP. Anyone that doesn't know what SP is, these are scaled pixels. So it's important to use scaled pixels and not just pixels, and not just DP here because of, again, accessibility. People on their phones might have their phone settings for the font to be increased by a certain amount to help them see a bit better. And if you don't use SP, you won't be getting that valuable information as well. So use SP. So now the font should be a bit bigger. The image should be a bit bigger. And one final thing, I'm going to click on row and show you this. Inside of row, there is vertical alignment. So in the row that goes left to right, we can align, sort of do the gravity inside of it. In a column, there is horizontal alignment. So we can sort of say where the things fall like that. So what I'm going to do is inside the row, I'm going to do, what did I just say? Vertical alignment? Vertical alignment. I'm going to start writing center, and you can see alignment, center vertically. Now that's not going to work because, in fact, that will work. Let me just show you. I'll just run it quickly. And sorry, a pleasure. Yeah, I hope it made sense. So here we go. You can see, the vertical alignment, the center vertically worked. The chicken now is sort of in line with the center of the picture of the chicken, if that makes sense. But the card still isn't taking up the whole space, and I kind of want the card to take up the whole space. So what we can do is, and this is where the modifier ordering comes in. We've said to the card, which is this element with the shadow around it, hello. Warruff, I think. Hello, Warruff. Welcome. The card here has a padding around it, so that's this space here. But what we want to do after the padding is we want to do chain onto the end of the modifier a dot fill max, and we've got size. If we want it to take up the whole screen, no. Max height, no. Max width. We want it to fill the whole width. Now let's run it again. See what happens. You should see the card expand the whole width of the screen. Bang, there you go. See that? Lovely jubbly. And it's filled the width of the screen. And this is, I would say, for all intents and purposes, pretty much there for a beginning screen. Let me get rid of the text category and the spacer at the top. We don't need that. So our screen now has turned in to be pretty simple. We've got a column. In fact, we don't even need that column. Let's make it simpler. Delete the column. Let's do some auto format. If you want to know how to do auto format, it's Option Command L. And to remove redundant, we don't have any. Whatever. Okay. Anyway, now we've created this. Let's just run it once more and see what the final product looks like. And we'll interact with it. And I think we'll probably call it there. So you can see on the phone, I'm immediately able to scroll with this because this is a lazy column, aka the new recycler view. We've made a service request in our ViewModel, which went down to the use case, went down to repository, which went to the service, and propagated the suspend function all the way back up to the ViewModel. The ViewModel then takes the result of the service call and puts it into a state, a Compose state, And then in the compose function, we read that data and do something with it. In this case, we put it into a lazy column. We use the items, wonderful syntax of items to pass it an iterable. And for each item that exists in that list, we're going to draw one of these sort of single composables. And that single composable is essentially, you know, when you made an adapter in the recycler view back in the old days, this would be your single, what did we even call it? A recycler view holder, a view holder. This is a view holder, if you like, right? In the compose world. And these are reusable components. I can use single category item anywhere. I just have to pass it a category, right? And this is huge. Awesome. Whew. I've done a lot of talking. So what I'm going to do now, because it's coming up to 9:30 in German time, I appreciate you all being here, is I'm going to sort of ask you. First of all, I'm going to take a second to drink a little water. I'm going to do another awful joke from this joke book, but I do need a page number. So if anybody in the chat could kindly post any page number from 1 to 280, then I'll read a joke for you right now. But I'm going to just take a second to have a breather. Has anybody got any questions? I'm not going to rush away. I'm just going to say, has anybody got any questions about anything that you've seen here, or something that you want clarified, or some part of this that I can repeat, or some part of this that you maybe haven't seen yet because you came a little bit later, which is totally fine, or any question at all. There are no bad questions. We currently have still 14 people live. This is awesome. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much. Whew, and I'm knackered. And I promised a whole app. I didn't realize how much time this would take. I've done one screen. I've barely done one screen, right? I'm thinking that I'm probably going to sort of wrap it up in a minute or two, and just be done with the one screen for now. But what it does mean, page 17, I'm pausing my little spiel. Page 17 from Zara, and then Warif says 73. Let's do two. We've got all the time in the world. 17. This category is ants. You can't even read that. It's blurry. The category of ants, Zara. Brace yourself. I'm just going to do it. Which ants are the smallest? Infants. Now, I'll just let that sink in for a second. Infants. This book has the gall to have that joke in. 73. Warif. 73. Let's do it. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, by the way. Warif. 73 for 73 for Warif. We have Doctor category. Prepare yourself. Here we go. Oh, this is awful. Doctor. I feel like a pair of curtains. The doctor says, pull yourself together, man. I think that's a microaggression as well. That's not okay. Pull yourself together, man. Because these curtains... Are you going to post the source code for this project on GitHub, by the way, Clayton asks? I am. Actually, yes. I thought that this project would be a little bit more... how do people call it? Finished. Turns out it's one screen. But by God, I'm going to post this thing. As soon as I finish this stream, I will... make a commit and chuck it straight on GitHub. I will post the link to the repository in the comments below this video. And yes. And what I'm thinking is, because this has taken 2.5 hours to make one screen, because I've been explaining, I hope I've been explaining everything well. I hope so. That I'm going to come back and carry on and do another live stream to continue on this app. So if you're interested in that, maybe let me know in the chat if you would return for a second iteration of this. We've got some comments. Louis, can you explain the Hilt ViewModel initialization of the ViewModel of category screen? I can. I'm glad you asked. Hang on one second. And another one from Curtis. Are elephants the biggest ants? One second, Louis. I need to address this. If I could swear, Curtis, watch yourself. Thin ice. Oh, and Graham has a joke for us. Why did the cookie visit the doctor? Graham, please, if you could hit me with a punchline. It's probably going to take like a whole minute for my delay to kick in, for your delay to kick in. Graham asks, why did the cookie visit the doctor? And the answer is, well, it's coming. It's a network service request. We're waiting for the response. I'm going to go back to Louis' question. Can you explain the Hilt ViewModel initialization? I can-ish. It's still relatively new to me, but this is a wonderful thing. If you're using Hilt, as your dependency injection framework. And remember, Hilt is just like an extension to Dagger. So you're sort of using Dagger, but you're getting some sort of easier to use annotations and sort of sexy bits on the top of it to make things easier. For example, this ViewModel injection was a royal pain in the butt for just straight up Dagger. Doable, but royal pain in the butt. Whereas with Hilt, you stick this annotation on it and it's done, right? So, and the Hilt ViewModel here, basically, remember the ViewModel providers and the ViewModel factories that we had to do? We had to use these things. Ed George, I'll read Ed George's thing in a second. Sorry. Remember, we had to use ViewModel provider and ViewModel factories to sort of instantiate these view models and attach them to the life cycle of their fragment or activity, whatever it was. This does this all in one fell swoop for us, and initializes our view model sort of with the scope of the composable in mind. Now, the real benefit here, this doesn't really do much other than gives us a view model for free. When we start using, and again, might have to be another video, when we start using the nav host and the navigating between screens, in fact, that would be the next step. That's where it really comes in useful. So, for example, you can set the nav host to have certain settings, I can't remember them off the top of my head, so that when you navigate to a composable, aka the category screen, navigate away from it and come back, it doesn't reinitialize the view model as it shouldn't. It knows it's got an access. It accesses the sort of the nav graph, if you like, and can sort of hold on to an instance of that. If that makes any sense, I feel like I'm babbling like an idiot and it doesn't make any sense. Very long answer short, Louis. Gives you a view model for free, does all of the stupid view model provider factory and connection to the lifecycle for you. I should have just said that and shut up a minute ago. Graham's joke came in. The answer. Graham's joke was, why did the cookie visit the doctor? Answer? Because he felt crummy. Crummy. Because he felt crummy. Graham, marvelous. Marvelous. They don't pay you enough. Ed George, my dude, missed the stream in the middle of moving house. All the best, Ben. Can't wait to check this out when I'm not living out of boxes. Ed George, you do you, boo. Go move that house, baby. I hope it all goes successfully well for you. And thank you for popping by at all, mate. Honestly, you don't have to be here. This stuff probably will bore the hell out of you anyway. You're far more advanced and expert at this stuff than I am. So I hope you just enjoy the jokes that have been scattered throughout. Louis says, okay. Thank you. I'm not sure that I answered the question particularly well. I'm sorry about that. But really, really nice. I'll shut up. Olivia, 32. Oh, page numbers, 32. Did I do worse? I did. Olivia has asked for the joke of 32. Here we go. Oh, no! Okay, so it's not oh, no. These are great. This book has a category called book titles. And they're literally just like 5 words in a joke. So I'll read 3 of these because these are super short. So Olivia, this is for you, page 32. The book comes first, then the author. Influenza by Mike Robe. Lumberjacks by Tim Burr. So Tired by Carry Me. I think I said that right. There you go. Enjoy those book titles. Anyway, I am dragging this thing on for way over 2.5 hours now. I'm tired. My throat is giving up on me. Wonderful audience, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me on my very, very first live stream. I'm gonna call it there, unless in the next minute, as I do my outro, there's more book pages, then I'll do some jokes for you. But I am truly grateful for everybody that's attended. It's kind of sad because I've got the 17 people now, and that's the highest number we've had. So to leave it, but maybe leave them on a good note, leave them wanting more. What I am going to do is, that was the live stream. I did promise a full app at the end of it. That's going to be physically impossible simply because of all of my talking. So instead, what I'm going to do is stop now, do another live stream to carry on with this thing. Maybe soon. Check my Twitter. If you want to keep an eye on this, check both the my Twitter, which is Ben @_Kadel. I'll just type that in the Twitter, in the live feed now. Go to Twitter, follow me. I post about all videos and my live streams now on there. So if there's a part 2, I'll posted out part 2, and so you can come and join if you want to. Maybe if you had some questions that you didn't get time to answer, feel free to ask them now. Alternatively, bring them with you to next session. Hopefully it should be soon, and we'll carry on this app. But hopefully you've seen in this video not only my beautiful face live, had the chance to interact with me like the lunatic I am, but you've also seen how we can use only compose, no fragments, barely any activity, just a slash of an activity to create a compose only MVVM, so proper clean architecture, except for the fact I didn't do multi-module. I'd love to have done that. And maybe I should have modularized maybe I should have done the packages a little bit different. But anyway, the fact was that I used ViewModels, use cases, repositories, and all the way down to the service, made a request and put the results on the screen. Next time in the video, we will click on one of these items and we'll navigate to the dish list view, which will, for example, if I click chicken, it will have all the dishes that are in the category chicken. So we'll see navigation between composable screens, which is really important, and also how we can take some ID like chicken and make another network request to get the next part of that whole thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting some lovely comments. Good work, Ben. Thank you. Good work, Ben. Was a good stream. Look forward to the next one. Thank you, Clayton. Thank you, Graham. Thank you, Baron. Appreciate you all. Appreciate everybody, who's been here today. Zara, Louis, Raid, Ed, Patrice, excuse me, Nala, Ratul. Sorry if I've missed your names, James. I'm super grateful for you all, and have a wonderful Thursday evening, and see you soon. I guess I need to hit end stream now. So we're going to end the stream in 3, 2, 1. See you next time.